Ladies and gentlemen, as we were preparing this episode, we actually were going to talk about censorship when we got word that CNN main HQ in Atlanta had been raided by rioters, and then shortly after that, we got a report the White House has been put on lockdown. This is getting a bit crazy.
Yeah.
So protests are breaking out around the White House, across the country. We're in the middle of some kind of pandemic lockdown. I don't even know what else to say.
It was a powder keg.
It's
not really surprising.
It felt like for a minute things were getting better.
Yeah.
Like the lockdowns are getting lifted. Then this George Floyd thing's happened. I'm gonna tell you right now, what's going on across the country has nothing to do with George Floyd anymore.
Agreed.
There's rating CNN. We got videos. It makes no sense, but people really don't like CNN.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, man. Earlier these past few months, I've been talking about emergency food supplies. It got to a point where a week or so ago, I said, I was jokingly like, well, time to crack the bag of beans because it's time for taco night.
Yeah.
Here's what I was saying, right? When the pandemic was coming out, I said, make sure you get some rice and beans or something. I recommend this emergency food that I've been pitching. It's through a company. We'll get to this stuff. And my attitude was like, your worst case scenario is when things get all better, you just eat it. It's like, so what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually got a long shelf life. And then for people who bought rice and beans, I was like, it'd be smart. All that happens is once this all blows over, you have taco night.
Yep.
You have a lot of taco night.
Nothing wrong with taco night.
So we actually cooked some beans up today, some lentils. And now this is getting crazier and crazier. And I thought to myself, man, I'm sure glad that I got some extra food.
Yep.
This is crazy. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the White House, the CNN raid. We got Twitter censorship. Trump's talking about revoking Section 230. China's upping their military budget to some ridiculous degree.
Timing.
Wow, man. I'm really glad I have a bug out van.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get in that thing. Maybe I'll go buy an RV. And then we'll just like have a hidden convoy in the mountains where we'll broadcast the show from the middle of nowhere. No one knows where we are.
But fun.
Yeah, true. We could do it.
This is getting crazy. Absolutely crazy. The craziest I've ever seen. So when it comes to all this rioting and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I've watched these videos from the LA riots, but it was LA. This is all across the country.
Yep.
I will also add that I've been DMing with various people. And, I was talking to Adam about this because I have DM'd with Jack Dorsey periodically. Obviously, I know him because I went on the Joe Rogan podcast. And you mentioned like, well, there's probably, you mentioned like I might have some perspective on the things he's been saying that might be relevant. And I'm like, that's a good point. I'm not going to talk about the private things for the most part because, but yeah, he's coming out with all these promises about not having censorship and fixing all these things. And then Twitter just keeps going in the wrong direction. And one of the bigger stories we have right now, Mark Zuckerberg just posted a message refusing to censor the president, saying that when he said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, he was issuing a warning. And it's important that if he's telling people there could be use of force, they need to know. I'm like, that's an amazing statement from Mark Zuckerberg. Like all this stuff going down right now. And Trump said, hey, man, and Twitter blocks it.
Well, and someone was already shot at that point and killed.
Exactly.
But after he said, or before he even said that.
And then Trump followed up tweeting that. He said somebody got shot and killed. And then he also said 7 people got shot in Louisville.
Yep.
So Twitter is just, they've gone insane. The president puts out a warning. The military is on standby. If there's looting, people get shot because they did. And Twitter's like, that's a reference to, what is it? Chief Headley and what's the name? Headley?
Someone in Miami.
Yeah, Headley in Miami. Yeah. And I'm like, even if you don't like the guy because it was civil rights era, like, what, it's just so dumb, man.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised to say I'm completely in agreement with Mark Zuckerberg on this one, even though they do have kind of censorship problems. But we should jump into the story. You guys, we got to talk about what's going on at the White House. This is as crazy as it could get. If you're just tuning in, hop in the Super Chat. We're actually going to make sure that in between each segment, we hit the Super Chats on time because we've been kind of holding them off. No, we're gonna jump into Super Chats sooner to make sure we can get to everybody.
Yep.
Tonight's episode is going to be a bit crazy. We may go a bit longer and then longer after that because we're going to play some music.
Yep.
Yes.
Assuming the world doesn't burn down.
Friday night.
Friday night. Yeah. So also, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button, like, notification bell if you like the show. We do this Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out. You can follow me at Timcast. There it is.
There
at Timcast, we got at Adam Krigler.
There we go.
Boom.
Nice.
At Sour Patch Lids.
Whoop.
So let's take a look at this first story. This is from WBAL TV 11. Reports White House on lockdown as protesting occurs nearby. The White House is on lockdown. Okay, I had to repeat the headlines. Across the U.S., some protests have become violent relating to the death of George Floyd. The handcuffed black man pleaded for air as a white police officer knelt on his neck. President Donald Trump spent Friday walking back his post-Midnight Thugs tweet about Minneapolis protesters that added to outrage over the police killing of a black man. Trump's later repeated condemnation of the killing and outreach to the man's family was a marked change in tone from his earlier comments that also invoked a civil rights era phrase fraught with racist overtones. And it's where they mention when the looting starts, the shooting starts. I think if that's all they have to add, I'm not interested in hearing their opinions.
Yeah, that felt some serious TDS right there.
This is what bothers me about journalism, and maybe this is why CNN's getting raided, and maybe this is why things boil over.
Yeah.
This is not a news story, but this is one of the stories coming out right now from NBC local affiliate, and what do? It's all opinion.
Yep.
It's all opinion.
It's like he didn't walk it back. He was saying
He doubled down.
He doubled down.
Yeah,
that's more accurate. Yeah.
What is it? And then they just get into Twitter. So it's a developing. Look, I'll tell you what. This is an example of the death of journalism. It's a developing story. So what do?
Mainstream journalism.
Yeah.
Let's be right about this.
Right.
'Cause you're a journalist.
Right.
Yeah,
The death of
exactly.
mainstream journalism.
Yeah.
So I have to read these stories and be like, wait, you know what I'm gonna do? I should go in and just edit out all the opinions, like remove that, remove that. It'll go down to like 30 words.
It'll be great.
The White House was locked down. And it's
Done.
crazy because that's it. Here's a story.
Yep. That's it.
They locked the White House down.
And they include a picture. I guess
Man.
it makes sense.
Well, I don't know. This is no. Oh, this is. Wait. What is this? In Lafayette Park, across from the White House. Oh wow, this is actually a photo from what's happening right now.
Holy moly.
Man, the White House on lockdown.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you know what would happen if somebody tried jumping the fence, like in a riot?
They get shot
Oh yeah.
immediately.
Oh yeah, no
Like,
joke.
yeah.
Like these videos we've been seeing across the country, police station,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to see Secret Service running out the back.
No.
No, you're going to see them
no.
standing on the roof and pulling at the cigar and throwing it and then going.
Sniping it. Yep.
Trump was right. When the looting starts, the shooting starts, and Twitter censors him for it.
Yep.
Well, so this is the, I guess, look, there's no point in just, we have no other developments, but I got to show you this story here. Let's jump right to what's going on with CNN because, wow. I first
wow.
got to say,
Wow is right.
I was laughing.
A little bit.
I was laughing a lot,
Yeah.
like
little
cackling
bit.
like a banshee when I saw the story.
You really were. You
It's a
exploded and giggled.
Schadenfreude, catharsis. Protesters in Atlanta mount CNN sign and raise Black Lives Matter flag. Oh, but it's more than that. Check this out. Atlanta protesters burn American flag in front of CNN Center. So here we can see
Wow, look at all the
helicopters zooming
people.
in. Look at all the people. See how their hands are? How their hands are
holding
shaped?
phones up.
They're all holding their phones
Like
up
a
to film
freaking
it.
rock concert.
And so there we can see they're lighting a flag on fire in front of CNN HQ. They actually raided and entered CNN HQ.
Wow.
Well.
So here's where I mean, this is all this stuff's happening like in the past 10 minutes. It's 7:48. Check this out. We got this tweet here. Fernando Alfonso III, journalist at CNN. Let's play this video.
Wow.
What does this have to do with George Floyd, whose family asked people not to do this?
I have no idea.
Nothing. Now, I'm no fan of CNN. In fact, I'm the opposite. What's the opposite of a fan? A hater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a hater of CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have turned journalism into clickbait, reality TV, tabloid trash.
Yep.
But this, look, I'll admit I laughed because it's like, see all of it's comeuppance almost. But I know it's bad, and it's scary because, look, I can be upset with people like Brian Stelter and stuff like that.
I feel like that's how they're justifying it. It's all comeuppance for
Right.
everything that they've dealt with their whole lives.
Yeah, but it's not okay to attack innocent people because you're not. Listen, CNN is different from burning down a small business.
Mhm.
I get that.
That.
But I don't like the idea of just mobs forming and just destroying everything.
Yeah.
But man, I'll tell you what, when this won't do anything. I'd love to see the CNN kind of go down sunset, as it were, slowly wind down
Like
and just
Joe.
people leave. And there's, like old Joe Biden, huh? Just because they're being replaced by better journalism, by new journalism. I don't like.
Yes.
Timcast.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but look, I use them as a source. What needs
True.
to happen is I need to actually. So we've got Scanner, which is out doing their thing, which is good.
Yep.
But then I need to have fact checkers and reporters in an office and actually start building that up. I'm not there yet. Right now, I'm using them as a source a lot of ways. And I got to fact check, like we just saw with the White House story. They inject opinion in all of these things, and it's like, dude, don't give me your opinion. Just tell me what happened. Why? Why is it locked down? Who said it? They don't know, so they just fluff it up. But we got more here. This is, once again, Fernando Alfonso III says, SWAT approaches CNN Atlanta HQ.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. Let's after protesters broke some of the building's glass. Nah, hold on a minute. It actually looks like if we jump over here, there's people inside. Who are these people inside running? Are these It looks like there's protesters inside. Maybe they're employees. I don't know. I see people inside the building. You can see right here, right?
Yeah, I see him.
So I don't know what this is.
Can you make the video a little bigger?
Maybe it's
Oh,
staff.
sweet. Yeah.
Let's we'll move forward. So it looks like there's a security guard. No, they're like bobbing.
Whoa, that door is completely, or that pane
Yeah.
of glass is completely
And
out.
look, these people are jumping. No, it looks like security. This guy. No idea. There they.
Oh, they going in.
They're
There
going
they
in?
go. Yeah. That one guy, yeah.
So I thought they actually went in. So I think I was wrong with that headline I used. I thought that was people in the building rushing in. So
Yeah.
But let's play this next clip. Alfonso says the SWAT teams are coming in.
Oh, you can see the security guard there, holding down the one open window. Oh, that's the SWAT team going in right now.
There they go.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What is happening?
I don't know, man. Boogaloo.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's an accurate statement.
Well, I've been saying this for the past couple of years. It's going to get worse. And it's really funny when people tweet at me and they're like, where's that Civil War at, Tim? I don't know. A ton of people just smashed up the front of a CNN building for no reason.
Across the country.
And I'm not, and it's across the country
Yeah.
right now. So let me first pull up some other stuff here. We got Brian Stelter. He said protesters climbed atop the CNN sign outside the network's HQ in Atlanta CNN Center and spray painted messages on the sign, live pictures. The reason I wanted to pull this up because it's confirmed, right? This is Brian Stelter saying it's happening. A lot of people were questioning where it was, and Brian works there. Well, he's in New York, I'm pretty sure. So, and I mean it with the most sincerity. Like I'm wishing for the safety of every single one of these people who I think are bad people, but they don't deserve to be hurt or attacked or anything like that. I hope they're all safe. I'm happy that people like Brian Stelter can do their thing, even though I think he does an awful show. And I think he's just, pretending for the most part. They said the same thing about me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad he has that right. I'm glad, and I don't like the idea of people trying to attack that. And so we saw a CNN journalist get arrested earlier today, and I saw some people, I'm not going to name them, laughing about it and tweeting good.
Yeah, I don't like
No,
that.
don't, and I don't want to say this person's name.
Oh, yeah, no.
No, man, I don't like CNN at all.
Yeah.
But this bothers me a lot. This guy getting arrested, Omar Jimenez, because what did the police do when the cameras got turned off?
Who knows? No one
Exactly.
knows. Yeah, cameras are
CNN
off.
can spin it all they want. They can blame Trump, but I can at least get some video. I'll take some video over no video. But let's talk about Boogaloo, man. I don't know what, they're talking about like a civil war, I guess, with the idea of like the Boogaloo and stuff.
Yeah.
There's, I guess, Vice did a story saying the Boogaloo boys are not your friends. And they're talking about how these people are holding flags and calling for civil war and stuff like that. They're making memes that say like Duncan Lemp and, George Floyd.
Yeah.
But they have no interest in like racial justice or anything like this. It's the weirdest thing to see from Vice and these other outlets, because it's like it seems weird that you've got people supporting their protest, and because they have different politics, they're like, no, don't trust them. They just want a civil war, and it's like, But how many of the Antifa people do too? You know, like what do you think Antifa's doing?
Right.
They're going out because.
Well, I mean, and they arrested the cop. Do you think that there's a group out there that are like, they only arrested this cop because what we did, because we're
absolutely,
rioting?
Absolutely. It's already all over Twitter.
Yeah.
So so I think it was the Amazing Atheist who tweeted something like, what did he say? What's the guy's name? Derek Chauvin, I think the cop's name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gets fired.
Oh, okay.
Riots break out, and less than 24 hours later, he's been arrested and charged with murder. And he's like, and then he said something about the bootlickers in his tweets or whatever. And it's like, wow, man. Think about the world you create where you think the ends justify the means. Where you're like, a bunch of innocent people had their buildings destroyed, some people died, but hey, at least now he's been arrested.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been convicted yet. What if he gets released? What if it, oh, so you're right again? Well, then what's that going to do? So he's been arrested, he's been charged. Seems like it might stick. But these people are so, I guess, it's almost like the banality of evil. Like, you're willing to let hundreds of thousands of people live in fear, destruction, fire, and literally people died in these riots. And you're like, but at least the guy got arrested.
Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of like a Boogaloo or whatever, what we're not seeing like armed factions fighting each other. Like the right isn't coming out up against the left like so many people thought. No, but what might happen is just widespread rioting, and then factions form from within this. So we already know who the principal faction in the rioting is. It's essentially social justice, intersectionalists, Black Lives Matter types, Antifa, people who are looking for an opportunity to exploit this. You're not going to see, right-wingers, 3%ers, Oath Keepers, militiamen or anything like that. But what happens when these people make it to a residential area? What happens when the bricks go through someone's home? It's not a shopping center.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing like CNN. Okay, it's a big corporate building, so CNN will be fine. They got money. But what happens when it goes to a local Target, which it did? And then and we've already seen, some dudes out with rifles like, hey, we agree with the protest, but not the rioting and vandalism and stuff. So what I'm worried about is this could devolve into a full on like major conflict. It's nationwide already.
Yep.
Atlanta, Louisville, New York. What do we got? Florida. There's a
Denver,
protest.
DC.
Denver. That's right. Denver.
LA. Yep.
Yep. DC, LA, Minnesota, obviously.
Ohio, I think.
Ohio. And this is beyond like Occupy Wall Street, where people were like, we all went to the city park and then slept.
Yeah.
Now it's nationwide and it's like, burn it down. They're screaming and stuff.
They're kicking over the barriers outside the White House.
What do you do? What do you do if like right now down the street, a horde of people are just throwing bricks and running around like crazy and setting fires? I don't see a reason why a lot of people will run through residential areas or like suburban areas. But if a protest started, because they'll all be like downtown.
Yeah. But
what about people who live in these cities? I got an email actually from somebody who said that they were fleeing. They were going to flee Minneapolis because they're city center. And so, man, I'm just thinking about like the pawn shop owner.
Yeah.
The looter coming in. That's where the escalation begins. It's not like, where we're at right now, I should say, an armed faction of right-wingers like standing on a line and like marching forward. No, it's like the chaos and the collapse is coming.
Yep.
We're in the middle of a pandemic. Apparently, you wouldn't realize it by this.
Well, it feels like we're in the tail end of a
Dude,
pandemic.
this is like, are we reaching the climax of existence for us, like for our generation?
Civilization.
It certainly feels like
What I mean by that is like our life story, where the roller coaster is reaching the top, and then next year, because like think about how insane this year has been already.
It's the craziest year of my life.
Yeah,
It is the
me too.
craziest
Hands
year.
down.
Yeah, man. So what we've had, pandemic. We've had what else?
I don't know. We had impeachment.
Impeachment,
And murder hornets.
murder. Well, the murder hornets.
Stuff.
Pandemic, impeachment. Like it's just crazy. And then
America's burning down.
now we have
Yeah.
this, and it's escalating. It's getting crazier and crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what happens next year? Let's say Trump gets reelected. What do you think these people are going to do?
Not be happy.
I don't know. It's like, I don't even think these people are thinking about Trump. They're just thinking about, burning the world down. They're just like, that's it. We've had enough. We're just burning everything down. We don't care anymore. It feels like they don't even care.
They don't.
And
I think-
I almost don't blame them. I mean, they're just letting loose.
Well, this is one of the scariest things I think I've seen in terms of the concept of some kind of civil war or whatever.
Yeah.
The police have lost all goodwill. You know, what was the saying, like back the blue or whatever, and like Blue Lives Matter and stuff? I don't see any of that.
Right.
I'm seeing people condemn the rioting and the looting and stuff, like, hey, why are you doing this?
Yeah, because
Sean Hannity.
It feels like everybody's like, yeah, that cop should
Yeah.
not have done that. He needs to be held accountable. Done.
Yep.
Across the board.
Right, but hold on, man. So they said okay.
Right. And then
Whatever.
everyone started rioting.
They said he should have been arrested right away. All right, yeah. Well, they arrested him now and charged him. Oh, what's that? They immediately rush out and start throwing bricks at CNN. Why? Opportunity. They don't. It's not even about Floyd anymore at this point. Now they'll tell you it is, but they're yelling F CNN.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, no one complains about him more than me. Well, it's not. Well, a lot of people do, but I complain a lot about CNN.
Yeah.
So why do it? Why do it?
It's been a powder keg. People are losing their jobs. They've got nothing to do. You've been told you can't do anything or we're going to arrest you. It's like, then you see what they deal with on a normal basis. And then, of course, this happens. It's like, it's the straw that broke camel's back.
You want to see
everyone's, it was just waiting to happen.
You want to see one of the craziest things?
Of course.
So,
Check out this story.
Hit me with it.
I covered this story earlier today on my Timcast News channel. Quote, "We have to arm ourselves. Black Michigan demonstrators protest police brutality." What you see here is a group of law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
No news story here, right? I don't see anything, do you?
No. It looks
Couple
like they're
of Americans
exercising their rights.
Well, I bet, it's like, I don't even want to say that. Exercising their rights, you know what I mean?
they're just doing their thing.
It's like, it's a couple of Americans standing around. Why
Yep.
is that news?
Right. Why is that news?
Because of the landscape we're in. When you have a group of black men, and the group is called Legally Armed in Detroit, and one of the guys is a firearm instructor. These are law-abiding citizens who,
Nice.
like, that's why I don't even want to say those words. Like, it's just nothing. It's just people.
Yeah, exactly.
But they try and push this narrative about, the white people on the steps with the guns and all that, and it like exacerbates everything. That's what makes me worried about what might happen with some kind of escalation of this conflict, because people don't know or care who you are. They don't care if you agree with them or not. So like it's like right now we got Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity's come out and criticized the police, and people are shocked, like, whoa, because he's defended cops a lot. No,
Yeah.
even he's pointing it out. Yet all I see on Twitter are people saying, nah, like the conservatives are bad, the right wingers are bad, showing pictures of them saying, look at these white people with guns. It's like, why are you yelling at them? They agree with you. Like, nobody's.
Well,
what do you mean?
There were those two dudes standing in front of a business in Minneapolis carrying weapons, and they were like, look at these two rednecks standing outside this business. And I was like, yeah, they're there to protect the business from the rioters. Like, I don't know what you're complaining about right now. They're standing there not doing anything
They
wrong.
want to riot. That's why.
Yep.
Like the stuff we're seeing is where it gets scary, because did you see that video the other day of the cops fleeing the police station?
Yep.
How many of you guys I should have pulled this up. Do you guys see this? It's like the back of the police station. It's the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And then an SUV rams the fence, and then a bunch of cops just run for it.
It's like full sprint too.
Yep.
Yeah. it's
Not
really-
just jogging,
GTFO.
just like they're
Yeah.
out of there. They're running.
What do you think those cops did when they got home?
Probably hug their families.
Change
Yeah,
their
and-
sure.
pants? I
and
don't know.
Changed their clothes, not for the reason you were citing. Oh, maybe.
Whatever.
What? Burn their
Get
burn
out
their
of that
uniform.
uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good
Get
point.
it out and hide that uniform. They got out of those clothes in 2 seconds, put on some regular old jeans and t-shirts, and said,
Been here all evening.
Yep, just sitting here with my family. I don't know.
Yep,
Don't
we're
look at me.
chilling.
Dude, it's going to get messy. I mean, it is messy. It's going to get messier. I wonder how many cops right now are thinking, I'm not coming in. Because when you see a police department like that raided, and
Burned.
the city of Minneapolis said that they got word that people were going to blow it up, then what do you... I'm sure there's a lot of cops who are like, nah.
Well, it's not that they were going to blow it up. I guess there was chemicals inside the building, and since it was on fire, they were saying there's a high probability it's going to
No,
explode.
the tweet said that they said something like, was that what it was?
I think that's what it was.
Because I heard that they were messing with the gas lines.
They're looking for a way to
Oh,
break the
okay.
gas
Yeah.
line, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So maybe not.
I mean, if it was on fire. So the fact
Yeah.
that it was on fire, you don't even have to mess with the gas lines. It's going to get to the gas lines eventually. That building was engulfed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, look, there's a lot of cops obviously still working,
Mm-hmm.
but at a certain point, does somebody just say, like, a lot of these cops get paid very, very, very low wages. In New York, for instance, it was kind of a scandal because if you had just joined the police department, you were getting paid like $27K a year, some ridiculously low number. And there was there's like a ridiculously large percentage of new cops who were guys in their 20s who lived with their parents because they couldn't afford to live in the city. But you got to live in the city. So they're getting paid trash. How many of these people are being like, nah, man, I'm not interested. I'm not coming out for this. You can incentivize them and try and pay them a lot more, but ultimately I'd imagine people just not interested. So here's what we should do. Actually, we should definitely jump to the super chats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I do want to talk about censorship. We got a statement from Mark Zuckerberg, and this is kind of a big deal. But I don't want the super chats to get ahead of us because this will help us actually carry the conversation forward.
Sure.
And we'll try and keep this one serious. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm gonna skip some super chats because a lot of people look. I hate to do this, but some people are saying silly things as they frequently do.
We have over 20,000 people here too.
Well, great.
Welcome,
Glad to hear it.
everyone.
Glad to hear it.
21.
Yeah, man.
My apologies to those who have super chatted with jokes and funny and silly things, but in reference to everything that's going on, White House on lockdown, I'm going to try and focus just on the more serious ones to the best of my abilities, which I won't necessarily be able to do, but I'm going to start reading some of these super chats. Dark Truth says, the whispering in NYC is that schools won't be open in September. Can NYC open up its economy with its schools closed? Parents can't go to work if they stay home with their kids. It's not just about that. It's my concern when I saw this tweet the super chat about schools is that nothing's going to reopen. If the schools aren't reopening, we got a combination of pandemic lockdown, economic collapse, and now people are running around the country burning everything down.
NYC was closing down already.
Right.
Rent was going crazy, and people were closing their businesses down. All small businesses were being shut down all over New York City. So, and all the the main corporate places, Apple stores were popping up everywhere, Starbucks stores. That's the only places that were there. That's all you're going to see now. New York's going to lose all of its personality because of this.
Personality. It's not going to be any stores.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to come out of lockdown and there's going to be nothing. You're going to be like, I need food, and you're going to look and it's going to be just empty storefronts.
Oh.
How does New York rebuild from that?
That's a good point.
These cities shut that. This man, my mind is blown. I'm telling you, New Jersey, California, New York, these blue states destroyed their major cities with this economic shutdown that turns out now, according to a bunch of these studies, to actually have been ineffective
Yep.
to varying degrees. And they're insisting on keeping them shut down, even though we know the infections are happening in the home. Andrew Cuomo says it. This blows my mind. You think about everybody fleeing New York City and what's happening now. Protests and chaos and people running through the streets, 30 arrests. When this lockdown ends, it's just going to be empty. It's a ghost town.
Yep.
Yeah.
How are they gonna afford that infrastructure and fix it?
I have no idea.
Let's read some more super chats. Let's see. Nathan says, if every American openly carries a gun, criminals will be less likely to victimize you because it might end their life.
That's a good point.
Glenn says, burned police station, destroyed evidence. Imagine all the criminals they just let off the hook. How can these riots be stopped? Boogaloo?
That's a good point.
I don't know if they can. They've enacted a curfew in New Jersey, apparently. I'm sorry, not New Jersey, in Minnesota.
Say, I hope
Minnesota.
not.
Yeah. Slip of the tongue because we were in Jersey.
Yeah, all weekend, like 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. or something.
We've already been under curfew.
Right.
We've already been locked down. I'm sorry, man, but the lockdown ended. These people are running through the streets, burning everything down. Where's the talk about social distancing now? It's like the game is over, dude.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize that all of this news and everything that we saw where they were like, these people protesting to reopen, they're not social distancing. It was
conservatives.
all a game.
Yep.
It was all for fun.
Karen's
Make believe.
power tripping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tune sure changes when they're throwing bricks through your window, CNN. Now it's getting real.
Yeah, seriously.
I wonder if it'll make it to the suburbs. So apparently, Philadelphia is planning for protests. Miami is planning for protests. People are, man, this is just so nuts. It's so hard to carry on. I'm sorry about super chats. It's like, we were talking about this earlier with the LA riots, why it was isolated to just LA. And part of the conversation was that the news reports would come out periodically. Things were going crazy in LA, but most people in the country didn't know and didn't see it. Now you see this protest and all these videos go viral. And what happens? someone sees the video go viral and runs outside.
Yep.
And then they tell their friends, and that anger and that sentiment and that opportunism is just instantaneously nationwide.
And they're using anything they can find to push the narrative that they want to push too.
Yeah.
You know, like the example of that hat, you know, that was a fake picture,
Yeah.
but it's being pushed around.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's not the first thing that's going to be pushed around, you know, it
So
happens all the time.
to clarify the context there,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's a photo going around of this cop apparently wearing some kind of racist hat. And it turns out it was fake, but people are pushing this propaganda. And I'll tell you what, man, the scariest thing is, I know we've talked about Russian interference and all that stuff, but think about how easy it is to sow discord with these fake posts.
Yep.
And yeah, it could be China, it could be Russia, it could be Iran, it could be anybody.
I mean, China is upping their military right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
It's
Yep.
like we already were in a tense environment with Russia, Russia and China. But like now look at China's probably like, look at they're ripe for the picking.
Some Russian oligarch guy a couple years ago said that he wouldn't come to the U.S. because we were in the middle of a civil war.
When did you say this?
This was a couple years ago, or like a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this
Wow.
the context was, you know, Antifa fighting people and Proud Boys and stuff, and the escalation. And there was one story, I think it may have been New York Mag or The Atlantic, saying that they polled a bunch of national security experts, like security company experts, and found that their opinions on whether or not a civil war starts is between 30 and like 90%, with the average being around 60%. So I've been bullish on it because I see how Facebook and Twitter polarizes everybody. And Facebook now knows this.
Yeah.
So they released, apparently it was the Wall Street Journal released a report saying they know that Facebook knew that the way the algorithm was designed was polarizing people rapidly, and Facebook didn't care. Probably because it was the engagement, the money was too good.
Yeah.
They couldn't let it go. Now you got a whole bunch of people who believe insane dogma about really weird theories, and they're running around smashing things. I'll tell you, man, I saw a post from a friend of mine, and it was heartbreaking. The level of insanity, the level of self-deprecating, self-flagellation was beyond anything I could have expected from this person.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is insane. They listen, man. This is somebody who's got hundreds of thousands of followers, is famous, tweeting for people to get involved in this. And I'm like, whoa, dude. Like, stop, man. Do you and then when they burn down someone's business, we should talk about this firefighter. This is a little bit more upbeat. When they burn down this business, they destroy the livelihood of people. They don't care.
Nope.
They say things like, well, now he's arrested. It's like, so you destroyed how much? How much for this?
Somebody's life.
How much was it worth?
No big deal.
Many lives.
We're going to go to Super Chats. Okay,
We're going to
sorry.
continue.
Keep it moving, yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
D. Stoltenberg says this minor donation is to be earmarked for the Timcast IRL Defense Fund, to be used only and if you decide it's time to bow and BB gun aren't enough to protect yourselves. Stay safe and God bless. Oh, we've decided.
Yep.
I will also
Yes.
mention the next story I want to talk about after we get to the Super Chats is about this this firefighter. They destroyed his dream. He opened a bar before he could even open it. Like before he can even get the grand opening, they burn it to the ground. They destroyed it. Then he tried to clean it up. They burned it to the ground. And this guy's this GoFundMe is like $300,000 now. So this is really, really awesome. More upbeat. I'm happy to hear. For those that are just tuning in, the only reporting we have so far, the White House has been put on lockdown. I want to clarify. I think I got the title wrong, so I really do apologize for this. I thought the people in the video were the rioters rushing in the building, but rioters outside of CNN HQ were smashing up all the windows, and then the police came in and stopped them. So, but right now we're reading Super Chats. If you want to get your Super Chat in, I think it's going to be too hard for us to read through all of the Super Chats because we got a ton of people right now.
Yeah.
But I do hope everybody's safe. And hit the like button if you like the show. Subscribe. Let's read more of the Super Chats. And then we're going to talk about this firefighter who had his business destroyed, was actually crying on TV. Let's see. Duder says, F the DNCCP. Wolfalt says, post 4346. Jack, you were warned. Yeah, Jack Dorsey, I warned about the censorship. We got to talk about the censorship too, man. We got so
we'll
much.
get there.
Oh, we gotta
Yeah.
get there.
Crazy
Go.
night. Drew York says, they say it's the, what is this quote from Tupac? They say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here. Yeah, apparently I'm not going to mention who, but some like really crazy viral tweet from a celebrity. People are claiming it may be fake, saying something similar.
Yeah.
People are losing their minds
A lot
right
of people
now,
are
man.
posting statistics too about it, basically saying the same thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you've had for a long time a large group of people that have been pointing out racial crime statistics.
Yeah.
And this is, you know what, dude? I'm sorry, man. We got to do the super chats, but I got so much to say.
I know.
I was talking to some people.
I see it.
I think we just got to do the stories, man. We just got to do the stories. I apologize to super chats, but this is really, really serious stuff, and we'll do our best to get to them. We're going to be up late tonight, so just don't worry. I was talking to some journalists, and I said to them, do you realize what's been bubbling up in this country and what's coming next? I was like, it's almost easy for them, because I was like, you're a couple white people. Like, the lines being drawn are easy. At this, the precinct that was getting raided, I think this is where it was. Maybe it was somewhere else. You hear someone shouting, "Shoot the white people" over and over again.
What?
I almost don't even want to say it. Yeah, it's in the videos that are going
Holy
viral.
Cow.
I was in Milwaukee in 2017, was it? I think maybe it was even 2016. And we were still living in Miami at the time.
Oh yeah.
So I went to Milwaukee, and while I was there, because it was some dude, he got killed, and it was a Black Lives Matter protest. They were shouting things about getting the white people, and an 18-year-old white kid got shot in the neck.
Oh my gosh.
And so I filmed this. I was standing feet from the police.
Wow.
When an armored personnel carrier pulled up. I saw this. We heard the gunshots. I saw this kid, 18-year-old white kid, was not involved in anything. Someone shot him in the neck. Some dude, it was a black dude, picked him up and carried him into a house trying to save his life. I guess they called for help. An armored truck pulls up, and a bunch of SWAT cops come out with their rifles, and they were I don't know what the formation is called, but they're all standing in a circle as they move.
Okay.
So every direction is covered. They go up to the house. The kid comes outside. He's holding a napkin on his a napkin on his neck because he's bleeding, and the cops run up, and I'm standing right there, and they pick him up and they rush him into the APC and take him out.
Wow.
That was it for me. I was like, they have said it. They said they were targeting white people.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not safe. I was like, I'm not, so I made a video about it, and it pissed off like basically the entire left. And I don't care. I don't care if you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make this video to be like, some kind of shock moment.
Yeah. It actually happened.
And I had fans, I shouldn't say fans, but like subscribers who follow my news coverage. And I'm like, this is why I'm leaving, and I won't be covering this anymore. And people were like, sorry to hear it, man. And I was like, if you're perceivably white,
Yeah.
then it is a serious risk to your safety to be here, because they've I'm sorry, man. When I see an 18-year-old kid, unrelated, not in the protest, just minding his own business, get shot in the neck,
Yeah.
I draw the line somewhere.
I don't talk about this often, but my uncle got murdered by a group of black men.
Oh man.
He got shot in the chest
Do you know why?
because they assumed he had money. They said, "Give me the money." He said, "I don't have it. I don't have anything." He wasn't rich, He's not a rich family, and he got shot and killed. And this is, it's like I don't talk about it often, but it's like it happens all the directions. I don't hate black people now. I know, there's probably young kids in trouble, probably influenced by
It's Chicago.
life. No, this was in Florida actually.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, okay, is that going to change? Is that going to make me want to hate all black people? No. I know it's an incident that happened. It's terrible. I miss him. He was an amazing man. But it happens both ways. It all happens.
The craziest thing about this is that that moment you're describing would make a lot of people racist.
I'm sure.
And it's not right, and it doesn't change the problems, it doesn't fix anything. And it's some criminals, but look at what's happening right now in Minneapolis, and they don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
They were what were they yelling outside of CNN?
CNN?
No, something
Didn't hear
about
anything else.
Was it not? It was maybe it was a different clip. It was like F the white people or whatever, and then there was the clip from the place where they were like, shoot the white people, and you've seen all of this stuff. It's been happening, dude.
Yep.
It's been on Twitter. This is why. Okay, so this is the story I'm trying to tell you. When I had these journalists and I was hanging out with them, I said, have you been paying attention to what they're saying on social media about white people? You tell me it's a joke, okay? But I have been on the ground and I watched a kid get shot in the neck. I know it's not.
Yeah.
They say they tweet these things, and they mean it. And I don't like the racial tensions. I don't like the stoking of fears, and I don't like any of that stuff.
Yep. Same.
And it's obviously a small faction of people, big enough to make an impact, where you actually have now mainstream journalists saying these things, and it's okay. And this is the escalation of violence we saw coming when they punched Richard Spencer in the face in D.C. And I, as well as many other people, were like, that was wrong. I certainly don't like the guy's opinions.
Yeah.
But he was just a dude standing on a street corner and someone clocked him. All these mainstream journalists. What did they say? They laughed about it. They made it go viral. They were sharing the videos. They were remixing the videos. Haha, this is funny. This is funny. This is funny.
Nope.
I said, do you know what happens when you do that? You get 500 people showing up in Charlottesville now saying they want revenge, and then you get that horrifying moment.
Yep.
You don't understand. Escalation begets escalation. So if you want to go around punching people, that's the last thing we need to happen. You make everything worse.
Yep.
That's what scares me about this. The weird thing about all this Minneapolis stuff is that the conservatives aren't necessarily backing the cops for the most part. They're like, you just enforced a bunch of unconstitutional orders. You think I'm going to stand next to you now while you...
No way.
After months of doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oppressing us.
Yeah.
Like, and not only that, but I mean, the killing of George Floyd was just insane. And so now,
Agreed.
on a principles level, you got Sean Hannity being like, no, man, the dude was kneeing that guy's neck 3 minutes after he lost his pulse. I want to be careful about what I say here, but according to the medical examiner, the medical report, the dude became unresponsive after 6 minutes of him kneeing him on the neck. And then one of the cops said, I can't find something about not finding a pulse. And the dude kept his knee on his neck for 3 minutes, like 2 minutes and 53 seconds.
After he lost his pulse.
Yeah. So the medical examiner said something like, this isn't, there was no sign of traumatic asphyxiation or strangulation. Okay. But it was a combination of his health his health issues and the restraint that ultimately cost him his life. And they added in the report that the cops knew, they were trained that this position was dangerous. So this guy's getting locked up. But yeah, man.
As he should be.
So I'm trying to finish the story about the journalist. I told him everything I've seen has, said to me that I think we're heading towards what will end up being terrifying racial tensions. Terrifying. Like what I saw in Milwaukee in 2018. I'm like, I grew up in Chicago. You think it's the first time I've experienced something like that? And the thing for me is that, like, it's a meme. Obviously, I come from a mixed race family, so I don't get the privileges among the horrifying racist, white supremacist types. Yeah. And I don't get it among the social justice types because I look too white. So it's like, for me and my family, it's run, hide, bunker down, defend yourself. But there's no faction for the regular people. So this is what scares me when they start yelling these things. I have friends who used to be lefty and now they're right wing because they had the same things happen to them. People screaming, white swears at them, like you white, effer and stuff like that. And they're like, not even. But it makes people, it's just there. And that's what freaks me out about seeing my friend post this thing saying like all white people now need to step up and do these things. I'm like, that is a cult. And that's like, yeah. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think that when they're screaming, shoot the white people, that you get a magic pass? Is that why you're doing it? Do they think that they'll be the ones saying like, look at the thing I posted, please don't hurt me? And I'm not talking about black people doing it. I'm talking about the social justice Antifa lunatics, which could include white people as well. Yep. I don't know what these people could expect, man. But I don't know, dude. I'm getting all riled up. Here, like, listen, when we were starting this show, we were like, oh, look, Mark Zuckerberg's talking about this. And then the White House lockdown, and then the CNN stuff. Atlanta? We're like, whoa, it's happening in Atlanta?
Yep. Yeah, it's happening in Brooklyn right now. They're beating people.
They're beating people. Mm-hmm. Who's beating people?
The cops, pepper spray, nightsticks.
Lydia came in the room and was like, we should do a lighthearted episode, guys.
Yeah.
Like, should do a lighthearted episode. I'm over here like, oh, man.
We were like, we got this really great story where a dude raised several $100,000 to get his business back.
I want to get there.
And then the White House gets locked down. And then CNN gets bombarded. And I was like, whoa, dude. The White House lockdown. Has that happened recently?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
So, okay. I want to read your super chats. I feel really bad because, look, it's a combination of, this is like...
There's a lot of heavy stuff happening right now.
Yeah. It's getting worse.
It's heavy, man.
And I'm hoping it rolls away, but it's Friday night. And I've experienced covering this stuff on the ground. Not only have I covered multiple riots and protests and events throughout the past decade, I've also been in other countries doing it as well. Adam's been on the ground a couple times with me in some of these places. Yep. And I know what happens on Friday night. I know what happens on Saturday.
Oh, people get wild.
People you know what's contributing to all of this is that one of the biggest factors stopping mass explosions of rage and violence is jobs.
Jobs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
keep people busy.
Nobody got them anymore. So this was just like the keg got lit.
Yep.
What I'm telling you, man. I know it's like a cliche for Tim Pool to say it's going to benefit Trump, but this is something I've pointed out before, that when Antifa does this is what I said several years ago. When Antifa goes out and smashes windows, starts fires, burns things down, you know what people do? They say, "Save us." They scream for help. And when Trump stands up and says, "I'm the one to do it," you think they'll pick Biden when their buildings are being burned to the ground? They're going to want that nasty, nasty, mean dude.
I don't know.
They're going to want all the boorish bullying behavior from that man.
Need that guy in
And
the
they don't
corner.
want, yeah, they're scared. So I don't know how true this is, but I read that when people get scared, they vote Republican. Because the Republicans are the law and order candidates.
It's true.
Yeah.
Security, military,
Yep.
strength, order. It's really easy when you have the best economy ever to be comfortable. To
Yep.
say, orange man bad, we want a soft, sophisticated president. And then the pandemic hits. Then your business is gone. Now you're scared. Then all of a sudden someone shows up and kicks the door in. So what do? You defend yourself. Now you're getting charged with murder. I'd be willing to bet Donald Trump would end up, ultimately defend that guy.
The pawn shop
Yeah,
owner.
or conservatives in general are
Yeah,
outraged.
Absolutely.
So, so for those that aren't familiar, there's a pawn shop owner in Minneapolis. A looter breaks in, shoots and kills him. Got charged with murder. And we talked about this the other night, because at first I'm kind of like, man, maybe he should have fled. But think about it. You're in a building. You're in your building. Doors are locked. Outside, fire's burning. The city's burning down. They're screaming. They're angry. You don't want to go outside. What if you go out the back door? Someone's breaking in. Maybe his friends are waiting for you. It's a riot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you go out the back door and then someone catches you. So what do? You defend your space. What does the government do? Murder charge. So what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I get it. The government's saying, like, we better charge them with murder, otherwise they're going to riot again. It's going to get worse. So what happens? They keep doing it. People are going to defend themselves. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope come Monday, everybody wakes up and it's over. But this year has been an escalation, endlessly, just getting crazier and crazier. When the pandemic news first started, it wasn't that big of a deal for most people. It was like, wow, this is crazy. What's happening in China? Then it hit us.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, they said 15 days slow the spread. Then it was 2 weeks. Then it was extended.
Now it's months.
Now it's months. Now
90 days almost now?
Yeah.
Is it past 90? I don't even know.
they haven't even, and now
80
New York
days.
doesn't care. We're locking down. We got the data. We don't care. We're locking down.
Yep.
So the protesters come out. They don't care about the lockdown. Imagine what it's like if you are a family. You have a family. You've played by all the rules. You said, okay, we'll lock down. All those commercials where they're like, we're here, we're with you together. You've seen those commercials? Like,
Yep.
every single one's the same. Imagine you're one of those people who fell for that, and you lost your job, and you're running out of food, and you're saying, if I just keep a smile on my face and hold on through the night, we're all in this together. And then those people you thought that were in this with you threw a brick through your window and burn your building down. So, no. What does that person do? And I know it may be a bit hyperbolic, but I got an email from somebody living in Minneapolis being like, I had to flee. So what happens when you follow all these rules, and then who's there for you? Nobody. Did the government have your back? They didn't. They actually made it worse when they went after when they sparked this off.
Yep.
People were looking for something to be mad about. They were mad. They were depressed. Think about this, man. Everybody who was locked down lost their purpose.
Yep.
They lost their job. They lost their meaning.
If they even had one to begin with.
That's a lot of the.
A job is not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times it isn't. So then to lose the job that was barely keeping you just sane, and then you lose it. And then months go by. And then you have this authority going, you can't go anywhere or else we're going to arrest you.
Yeah.
And then you see it happening. It's like, man.
I'll tell you what.
And then this happens. It's not surprising.
The feeling is like every day the government has their hand over your heart and they're slowly squeezing it.
Yep.
You can feel that pain as everything crumbles around you, as you're getting cabin fever. A lot of people in these big cities, they're locked up in cubicle apartments. And you can feel that pain every day, but if you just wait, eventually it will be okay. And then this happens with Floyd.
Jeez.
And then this rage, this anger.
Yep.
is focused, hyper-focused. I can imagine that, man. I can empathize with that feeling, but I wish that it wasn't this bad. And then the way I've been thinking about it too is when we talk about these left-wing protesters who go around just burning stuff and rioting, part of the social justice stuff has to do with the fact that people have no purpose anymore.
Yep.
There were questions raised about whether religion is like something that humans need. They must have. Heads up. He's going for it. We got a cat came in. But let me continue. There's questions of whether or not humans need religion, because without it, they replace it with, dogma, and they've replaced it with social justice ideology. And now it's like a hollow shell of what religion was. But if you think about, I've often wondered about how things maintained order in the past, and if everyone agreed they were scared of the same God, they had a shared cultural community and understanding.
Yeah.
So it kept things calm in a lot of ways. But now we're at a point where no one really agrees on their purpose and what they're doing.
Yep. It's true.
You get these young idealistic individuals and they ask themselves, why am I alive? Sorry, buddy, I can't tell you. I don't know either. I made my purpose. You got to make yourself. You got to carve yourself out of stone. These people didn't do that. But then someone came along and said, I'd like to introduce you to purpose. And they presented them some intersectional guidebook.
Yep.
Antifa, the Antifa handbook. All of a sudden now they found their purpose. You combine that with a lot of people whose purpose was their jobs. I wake up, I go to the office, and that's my mission. I wake up, I go to school, that's my mission. And then you shut it all down for 3 months. And now they're sitting there depressed. Suicides have gone up.
Yep.
There's like crazy stories about this. And they're questioning, why are they even here? Then George Floyd gets killed. And they think to themselves, this is my purpose. So they go out in these massive crowds across the country, and it magnifies all of that social justice outrage. And this is what we get.
Yep.
Night 3, crazier than I've ever seen. I'm hoping that it boils over.
Yeah.
But why isn't the lockdown lifted? Certainly, the lockdown's been voided, right? No one's caring anymore. Cars are out. They're doing their thing. They're going to beaches. Nobody cares.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yet your business can't reopen. Is this what they want? They wanted their cities destroyed? The crazy thing to me is you can see it all. Like you can see it. When they said we're locking things down, what have I been saying? What has everyone else been saying? We got to reopen the economy. These businesses can't survive. They're not coming back. We don't care.
Yep.
That's what they said. We don't care. They just do not care.
They said it without saying it.
I think it was Bill de Blasio who literally said it.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously?
Mm-hmm.
He said, these businesses, they can hold off longer. What was the exact quote?
I don't know.
It was something like that. They can't.
No,
And
they can't.
now they're going to burn the place to the ground because you pushed them too far.
As I said, businesses in New York City were already going under because it's so expensive to run a business in New York City. The rent is insane, no matter where you are. If you want to be in any relevant place, it's expensive.
Way too expensive.
Right. 3 months? Like, all right, your rent's due now. Oh, you don't have it? Goodbye.
Yeah.
This Starbucks will pay us the
What do you
money.
think that person's going to do?
I don't know.
I want to make sure I
Join the
clarify
crowd.
Yeah, join
what
the
I
crowd.
clarify what I was saying a second ago because I think I misspoke. I'm saying I hope everything simmers down. I said boil over, right?
I
Yeah,
didn't notice that.
I see what you
Right.
mean, though. Yeah. Simmers
Simmering
down.
Yeah, simmers down. That's the right one, right?
Cools off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean blows over.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
the
No,
that's the
not
one.
a good combination
That's the
there.
one. Yeah, we're gonna go to the Winchester, have a pint, wait for it all to blow over. But I'm not convinced. And the scary thing is we got the South China Sea, we got Iranian gunboats zigzagging around our ships.
Mhm.
People are,
Shooting
we got
themselves.
Venezuela trying to ram that vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Is this it? Is this, So I guess, I think the important thing to clarify, we talk about Boogaloo because it's popular right now in terms of terminology.
Yeah.
The coming second Civil War II, American Boogaloo. No, I'm talking about, I think collapse is probably a better way to put it.
But that's
Yeah, good
depressing.
point.
That's depressing.
Yeah, the idea of a collapse.
But it's accurate, though.
I know it's accurate, but I like the sound of Boogaloo much better. Kind of.
Well, there's a
postpones the
difference,
inevitable.
though.
Yeah.
Boogaloo is people fighting,
Like actively.
and then what happens is the collapse. And
Yeah.
the collapse can happen whether or not we have a Boogaloo.
That's true.
And that's what I feel is going to happen.
if we stay locked down.
It feels like the lockdown is over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it feels like even if we try to open up, the country's collapsing.
Yeah.
We're
I think
we're
you're right.
witnessing it right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
So
don't
does
know.
someone come in? Do we get attacked? Like, you know that I guess it's a fake quote. The reason why Japan didn't invade America is because there's a rifle behind every blade of grass. Apparently, it was attributed to Yamamoto of Japan, but it's apocryphal, disputed. The saying, we don't know if it's true, because we were just looking this stuff up. How would you invade America if they have a massive armed population?
Wait until everyone's at each other's throats.
Put
like
everyone
right now.
Put everyone at each
Yeah.
other's throats.
Yep.
And have them
exactly.
fight each other so you can sweep in. The
Yep.
only way.
What's that tell them about identity politics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce them to identity politics. Where did that all come from? Been a long time coming. Some people think it's like a long con from the Soviet Union, Soviet era.
Meh.
I don't care about speculating. I think the ideas are kind of funny, but
Man, all I can think is that tweet that I tweeted. It was that Hillary comment about cozying up with China, and then like how she was like, yeah, well, you know, we should cozy up with them. We should ask them to hack Trump's emails. And I was like,
Right.
what am I hearing right now? It's like it feels like they're kind of pawns.
she was making a point about what Trump had said.
Sure.
Because Trump said
In the
Russia, if
worst
you're-
way.
Yeah.
Right.
Terrible way.
Absolutely. Yep. Of course. And everyone was like, did she just break the law? Like admitting
Yeah.
if they thought that was illegal and then she did this? But she was trying to be make this like, I don't know, hyperbolic point. So here's what I hope, man. I hope everybody has taken care of yourself and your family. I'm not saying to go build a bunker or anything like that. Actually, you know what? Let me stop right here. Earlier this year, when we saw the pandemic coming,
Yep.
and I did these food promos, I was like, don't build a bunker, just prepare, have some food. I'm not talking about 30-year stock. I'm talking about like a little dry food bucket. Now I think it's actually fair to say the preppers were right. I'm not saying the world's going to end, but I'm saying you see this stuff. The White House gets put on lockdown. Where does that go next?
Man,
Is it gonna go-
preppers across America are going, we're ready for this.
Yeah, they got a point.
They literally
Bring it
are.
on.
They literally are because
Yeah.
I met some and talked to them when I was in Arizona.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like
Yeah.
last month.
Mhm.
No, this was 3 weeks ago. We were in Arizona. We pull into this small town. No lockdowns. Burger joints open. We walk in this gas station. They're serving burgers. No one's wearing any masks. And I'm like, I'm wearing a mask, and I'm like, what's going on
I
here?
feel out of
Yeah.
place with my
And I
mask
walk
on.
up to buy some coffees, and I ask, I'm like, nobody's wearing any masks. And she goes, oh no, we don't care. And I was like, you're not worried about like this? She goes, we're preppers. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. She was like, you know how like all the toilet paper got snatched up? She's like, my husband looked at me and said, do we have enough toilet paper? And she laughed. She's like, we're preppers. She told her husband that, and they laughed. She's like, we got 3 months worth. We got a lot
Yeah,
of.
I told you about the old nuclear silo in Jersey that's available, right?
Oh, really?
I'm just saying.
Nuclear silo.
Let's bring that up.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
reinforced to withstand a nuclear assault itself, right?
Okay,
Yeah, I think
let's
so.
All right, there we
buy
go.
that.
Let's,
Mhm. I'll help
so-
you build it out.
So how many
Nope.
stories down is it going?
I'm curious now.
No,
Pretty deep.
I mean, it would be really cool to have like a subterranean hangout of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't really think people need bunkers right
But
now.
that
Make a
would be-
crazy skate park in the bottom of the silo.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you
That'd
something,
be
man.
pretty cool,
Oh
actually.
man.
I'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm frequently correct. I don't think I'm always correct.
Frequently correct.
Frequently correct. And I attribute this to playing chess since I was a little kid.
Okay.
My mom taught me how to play chess. Like I could play chess when I was before. I can't even remember being alive and not knowing how to play chess.
Bro, we should play chess. I was on the chess team.
Well, we play Magic. You know what I mean? Magic's more
snap.
fun.
I know, but no, we don't play Magic anymore.
Yeah, because it's broken.
Magic
But,
is busted. All right, go ahead. Finish your point.
The
Yeah.
point is, it taught me planning ahead and calculating multiple moves and variables and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that. I would say in my late teens, I was thinking about everything happening around us and conflict and war. And I thought to myself, it's impossible to calculate every variable. And it's harder and harder to calculate variables as you move further and further ahead.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So right now I can say like, what would happen if I got up? There's like 10 different potential things that could happen. You might say something, she might say something. And then after that, then you got to calculate all the next 10 variables. So it's like exponentially.
Exponential, yeah.
So you can only go so far. However, what I'm bringing up is that when I was younger, looking at everything happening in the world and the media, I thought to myself that I felt like around the time I was 35, everything was going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's funny because I have maintained, like I've always thought this to myself. Like I was like 19 years old and I'm like, yep, probably by the time I'm 35 is when, it just, for whatever reason, that's what I just felt like I could see it. I could feel it in my gut.
That's approaching.
But I may be wrong. I'm just bringing it up because it's something I've always had in the back of my mind throughout my entire life. And as all of this stuff happened from Occupy Wall Street, especially 10 years ago, I was like, wow. And it's funny, at the time I'm thinking like, maybe I had my timetables wrong. Maybe it falls apart. And then everything blows over and I'm like, I don't know. And it was actually crazy to me because then, this year starts, the impeachment's happening and all the protest stuff we saw before. And I'm like, I'm going to be 35 next year. I'm 34 right now. Is it? It's like, is this going to fall apart? Is this going to go nuts? Is Trump going to get reelected, triggering these far left to screech about some insanity? Or am I just, paranoid?
I don't know, man. There's evidence the polls are shifting. Stuff's happening.
Stuff's crazy.
It's really
Earth is changing.
But I'll tell you
in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story that makes me always trust my gut instinct. I was briefly staying on Fort Carson near Colorado Springs.
Okay.
I think it's basically Colorado Springs.
It is, in fact, Colorado
it
Springs.
is, right. And on my way back, I was finally back in Illinois because I had gone to visit my sister. I'm driving in, this is in Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
I'm driving.
I know Glen Ellen. It's a nice little town.
It is. And I'm driving down Roosevelt
Okay.
when I see a squad car behind me. And I'm thinking to myself, he's probably running my plates. Like, I'm probably going to get pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulls up to my right, and then he speeds off. And then I'm like, guess it was nothing. As I come up this ridge, I see him pull into the left lane and put his left signal on. And I thought to myself right that moment, he's like a few blocks in front of me. I can turn right here and just go to the store, pick up some snacks. No, I'm being paranoid. He wasn't running my place. He's not going to pull me over. He's turning left. Guess what happened?
Pulled you over.
Right when I
Yep.
passed him, he flicked his lights on, pulled me over. Turns out, so this was an illegal stop. It turns out that, well, arguably, he ran my plates, and because I had got a I got a speeding ticket when I wasn't speeding. Here's what
Okay.
happened. 3 months prior, I was exiting on Lakeshore Drive. I mentioned this the other day, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a 45 mile an hour speed limit. I was slowing down to get off and I get pulled over.
Yeah.
And this cop walks up and says, I pulled you over. And I was like, what? No. And he's like, you're speeding. And I was like, I wasn't speeding. He's like, I don't care. Tell it to a judge. Sign here. So I didn't know that under the age of 21, if you get two moving violations within 3 years, they instantly suspend your license.
Whoa.
I thought, I'm going to go to court on this one and I'm going to say I didn't speed.
Yeah.
And I'll fight it However, I went to visit my sister because her husband was overseas and, my family was like, you're not doing anything. Why don't you go hang out with her for a little bit, keep her company? I was like, okay, sounds good. I realized that the time limit was running out. And so my sister offered to pay the ticket for me and not to worry about it. And I was like, okay. And as soon as that button was clicked, that was a guilty plea, which instantly suspended my license, which I did not know.
Oh.
So the cop pulls me over and he walks right up to my window. Is in Glen Ellen again. And he goes, Tim Pool? And I was like, yes. And he goes, you're under arrest, out of the car. And I was like, excuse me? He's like,
Excuse me.
license is suspended. And I was like, what? And he was like, do you have someone who can come pick you up? I can I-bond you right now and you can leave and you'll have a court date. And I was just confused. I was like, I don't understand. Why is my license suspended? And he was like, I don't know. I don't care. And so there were I talked to some lawyers and they said, what did he pull you over for? And I said, nothing. I wasn't doing anything. It's like, oh, so he illegally stopped your vehicle. What I was told was running a plate and seeing a name and then seeing the license suspended isn't a justification for pulling a vehicle over because it could be driven by somebody else.
Okay.
Let's say you're driving my car to go get milk and he pulls you over and goes, Tim Pool, and you go, no, it was an illegal stop. Once he found out it was me, then the lawyer told me you'll never win. It's a waste of time. Nobody cares. So I ended up having to plead guilty.
What does this have to? I'm just curious. Why'd you start bringing that up? What are you talking about?
My gut instincts.
Oh, okay.
When I saw that cop car
Mhm.
and I knew he was going to pull me over and something bad was about to happen, and I
Oh.
could have just
Okay.
gotten off the road and gone to the store like I wanted to,
Mhm.
but instead I figured I'll keep driving.
Human instincts are powerful, yo.
From that moment on, I've always said, whatever my gut tells me, I go with.
Good. Yep.
And so that's the story.
I try to live that way too.
That's the story. And that's why, to wrap it back up to the more stupid stuff, is that I think it's going to get really, really bad next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been thinking for a long time, and that's what I'm betting on. So let's, I guess we'll read the super chats, and then we have the censorship stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right. So we'll go to the super chats. For those, I got to be honest, man, but I don't know if we can actually get to them. There's just so many. So what should we do?
Read a few. Read as many
Read a
as
few.
we can.
We'll read
Just
as many as we
honestly,
can.
just do what you do when we got to move ahead. Just
Yeah.
So
read.
we're going to have to speed up.
Charge
So
We can't read the
Yeah.
smaller super chats. Sorry, guys.
Otis says, going to leave this here before I hit the bed. 2am over here. Totally irrelevant comment. Tim, work on your Swedish accent for Greta. You sound like a horny leprechaun. Ask Adam's wife for advice.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that's what I'm going for.
She can help you.
Maybe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Graf von Tiro says, the Boston Tea Party comparison is one of the most asinine I have ever heard of in my life. One is a protest over taxes without representation in Parliament. One is outright opportunism.
Yep.
I mean, there's so much wrong with that comparison.
Yep.
Blue Dragon says, I'll add to the Timcast IRL Defense Fund as well. Stay safe, y'all. It's getting crazy out there.
Thank you.
Alan Jones says, pitching in for the Timcast IRL Defense Fund.
Ooh.
Heard a good tip to try the Walther from a humble mug salesman.
Indeed.
That's right,
Yeah,
Mr. Crowder
I should try
himself.
that.
A humble mug salesman. Deplorable Pirate Captain says, a channel recommendation. Donut operator for police video breakdowns. He also has a skate shop in South Carolina. 50 Skate Shop. Cool.
Dope.
I've seen some of his videos before. Sean Easton says, what would you guys do if, bear with me, you were held hostage by a sentient animal, and bear with me, your only chance of rescue was sending a coded super chat? Oh.
Oh, I said, oh, bear with me.
Bear.
He's,
Yeah.
he's being held by a bear. I'm sorry, dude.
Kojima Fire says, press F for the boog. Also, Adam, I have an Arbor Blunt longboard, and I have not bought another longboard since. I've had it for 67 years now. Best board I've had.
Cool.
That's actually one of my favorite arbor boards. I actually have one. I refuse to skate it because they don't make it anymore.
Oh man.
So it's a great board. It's
Wow.
huge. It's a longboard, real longboard.
Dark Renji says, really enjoy learning to ride a skateboard again. Taking it one step at a time. Adam, bro, that Arbor video of you shredding New York is a serious inspiration, plus the video of Tim all those years ago destroying those tricks.
Thank you.
This video of me from, what is it, 16 years ago or something? 14 years ago?
It's
Dude, you're
baby Tim.
yeah, whatever. You're
Oh,
a good
man.
skater.
Love
No, I
it.
just think
You
it's
were
funny,
a good
like,
skater. You are a good skater.
I just think it's funny that's going viral.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube keeps sharing. It's got 200,000 views.
It's got the right name on it.
It does. The right name. Chris says, Viva Frey wants you to send a link to your COVID shutdown timeline. Thanks. He gave you a shout out tonight. My COVID shutdown timeline?
Huh.
Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Graf von Tyrrell says, Twitter really screwed up when even Zuck of all people refuses to stoop to such a low. Time
Yep.
to spin the UFO. Thanks for the super
Oh,
chat,
it
man.
is. It is time.
And that's the
Oh,
next
it's over
segment
here.
too. So
Where is it? Can you hand me
we've
that?
got a statement made by Mark Zuckerberg and as to why he refuses to censor Donald Trump, and he is completely correct.
Yeah,
and
that's next.
and that's next. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. We're gonna spin the UFO right here with
We're
the
spinning it.
the air
Hopefully
blower.
we answer some super chats with that.
Dylan Bella says t-shirt idea for Lydia, shocked expression and exclaiming, "Oh my stars and garters."
Oh, yes, indeed.
Chaotic says, I'm very, very worried about all this escalating to a point where we can't go back to normal. Best be ready. RoboFin, yeah, maybe bunkers, right? RoboFin says, how far are you in Stargate SG-1, Adam?
Still in the first season. Everyone keeps telling me like, oh, it gets so much better, I watched it. I loved the show, and actually I really like Atlantis also. That was a really good show. So I'm really excited to relive it. I'm reliving it all. So,
Nice.
but I love that everyone's all about that too. Stargate's awesome.
Florbo Adjacent says, how much do I need to super chat for a seat in the van? Can I get some finger pistols from the gang? A seat in the van?
There you go.
And the van can barely seat two
know, we
people.
get
let alone
two
three.
people.
Does that count?
Let's go, Z. That does count.
All right,
Thank you,
cool.
Adam.
Yeah.
Cassie Boyd says, is this the beginning? Well, it's the end of something.
The beginning of the end.
And
Yeah.
it's the beginning of something too.
Yeah.
Yep.
The world's changing. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hutch the Wolf says, world burning down around us. Join me with some marshmallows and some music, and we can laugh as we watch the flames flicker till the end. Andrew says, in Maple Grove, Minnesota, the furthest northwest suburb of the Twin Cities, Target has boarded up completely, has a line of cops in front, and is closed indefinitely. 8 p.m. curfew throughout the cities.
Whew.
Arrests will happen tonight.
Yep.
Goldie says, Null, owner of the Kiwi Farms, did a stream today denouncing Trump and wanting to revoke Section 230, saying it may not even hurt sites like Twitter and YouTube. Thoughts? I mean, yeah, because Twitter and YouTube have powerful legal teams and can defend themselves. Smaller sites can't. Gavin says, go watch a COD. Shows a protester. Perfect example of it not being a protest, but revenge. Interesting. Forced Out says, there are snipers on the rooftops at Houston protest. Yikes, man. 21 Viceroy says, is it wrong to say I condemn the murder of Floyd, but condemn the riots? I want to support the people, but I can't with these riots. A war is in my head with no ground being made. I feel incredibly depressed right now. I mean, I think
feel you.
reasonable people are saying the riots are bad, the murder of Floyd was bad,
It's all bad.
but angry people are just destroying everything. And
That is, yeah.
Yep.
Dave, thanks for the super chat. Agent Toon says, George Floyd may just be the new shot heard around the world. The straw to break the camel's back. The match dropped into the powder keg. I completely agree. Michelle Mybell says, Alex Jones made some interesting comments about Karens. Hillary supporters were the evil ones to watch. I wonder if that has anything to do with what happened at CNN. That's what, Van Jones, you mean? Van Jones said that.
Yeah, I don't
was
think
like, Alex Jones.
No, yeah.
Devlin Bowman says, hey guys, I heard you talking about selling boards last night. I don't have much to contribute, but I appreciate what you do, and I figured I could throw some art your way. Where can I donate if you want? Follow at Adam Krigler on Twitter, and you can send him whatever you want.
Yep, hit me up.
Heck yeah.
The Red Pill Journey says, now that CNN has rated, the next step of action from them is always and will be doubling down. Thank you guys and keep up the good work.
I'm curious what they have to say about this.
Yeah. Vosh says, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. CNN supports this. They egg this on. Are you telling me these are Trump supporters?
No, they just planted the Black Lives Matter flag on top of the CNN sign.
Nato A, thanks for the super chat. John says, the Donald was quarantined for threats on cops. With all the anti-cop hate on Reddit currently, how many more will be quarantined? Or will we see it was a false pretense to ban the right-wing speech? Of course it was false. Of course it was banned to ban the right-wing speech. Twister Tough says, hey, Tim, can you promote Library as a competitor for YouTube from a former Earth Texan? I don't know a whole lot about Library. It's LBRY, but you guys are free to check it out. Benjamin Hanna says, wonder what percentage of those protesters are monsters taking advantage of a terrible situation. Shout out to KB Bala and his Scores Sports Bar, who have raised over $300,000.
Yep.
Can't keep his American dream dead. It's amazing. Yeah, we've got that GoFundMe. Maybe we'll get to it. Zachary says, Adam or Tim, I have an Arbor longboard, but I'm looking for a shortboard. What brand would you recommend? Is the board size based on height or weight? Thanks.
No, actually, it's more about your foot size, your shoe size. You know, if you have bigger feet, you might want a wider board. I don't know
Cat's
if
yelling.
you can
Being
hear the
yelled
cat.
at,
He's
sorry.
trying to go outside. But you know what? I would say if you've got, you know, I don't know, 11 or higher, get like an 8.0 to 8.5. Or if your feet are smaller, like a 9 or lower, gets like an 8.0 to 7.75, something like that. And honestly, most skateboards are going to be relatively the same. Arbor even has short decks that you can get. Just go find a graphic that you like, because it'll just make you like the board more.
We got a big update from about a half an hour ago.
Okay.
Police have started firing beanbags into the crowds. Apparently, this is downtown Atlanta, and so I'm just
What?
Oh wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's
This
where
is
the
it.
headquarters is.
Check this out. Reporting from near CNN Center in Atlanta. This is terrible to witness. Protests in multiple cities. We can see cars are being burned. This is Atlanta. I hope you guys really do take your security seriously. And let me just point out something. A lot of people have, said defense fund and all that stuff, and you guys got to protect yourselves. Some people have been critical because of our defense position in this. And let me just tell you, I'm not going to tell you what it is. So if you think we're unprepared, you would be incorrect. I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of people
Yeah, no.
But
I'm not going to tell
we gotta-
anybody that.
So I'm going to keep following these tweets. I notably have Brian Stelter pulled up because he is, probably the best source for somebody at CNN New
I'd say
York
so,
telling
yeah.
us what's happening at CNN Atlanta on these burning cars. This is crazy stuff. But we're going to read some more super chats here. Connor Greenwell says, my Facebook is lit up with people angry at people for being angry at the rioting, and others pointing the finger at Whitey as though all are complicit.
Yep.
I
Sorry.
see that too, and it's so sad to see that.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like all whites are terrible. And it's like, really? Come on. It's ridiculous.
Sergeant Buck says Ted Cruz is going to legislatively show Twitter why they call him the Zodiac Killer.
Oh.
Ted Cruz has called for a criminal investigation of Twitter
Oh, yeah.
over violating sanctions by giving Iran access to the platform, which I think it very clearly violates
Zodiac
the
Killer.
sanctions.
Wow.
Love it.
I didn't know about this.
And you know what Twitter's response was?
What?
We shouldn't have to adhere to the U.S. law because we provide an important service. That was the gist of their argument.
What?
You can't just argue why you can break the law. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work
Quite
that
the
way.
That's
argument.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Spicy.
Yikes.
Lone Lobo says the video of the man yelling at rioters and asking what he did to deserve the destruction of his property broke my heart, Tim.
Oh, me too.
From the LA riots?
LA
Yeah.
riots.
Yeah.
A man, older man, says it was I fought so hard for this. Why did you do this to me? Makes me angry. And you want justice. The people who are going on rioting don't want justice.
Yep.
They want
They
things.
I would argue some of them do,
And
but a lot of
revenge.
them just want to smash.
Yep.
They just want. This is what I was told by a friend. They want a symbol of what they think holds them back. And could you imagine if people realized you only hold yourself back?
Yep.
What would any of these people do if they were just teleported instantly to a barren planet of woods? That's it. You're in the woods. Boom. That's all there is. What do you think they would do? You think you deserve anything?
No idea.
You got to make it. Let's see. Ario says, hey, pool party, longtime viewer and first-time donor. I always enjoy watching and listening to you all. It really helps me get through the last third of my workday. Keep up the excellent work. Appreciate it.
Man.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeremy says, in Houston, people are chanting, charges aren't enough.
I just saw, Houston.
This isn't going to stop with a conviction. Also, being in Atlanta, they will tear stuff apart. Atlanta, or ATL wild. Grady, baby, stay safe. We're on high alert, man. Ryan Einstetter says, hey, Tim, when will you be hiring for fact checkers? I'm currently in between jobs as an Intel analyst. I'm a geospatial imagery analyst, Air Force vet. I would be very interested in applying.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. The only problem is I need a building, and that's been really difficult because of the lockdown. But as soon as we do, hopefully later in this year, definitely. So, well, first of all, follow Adam.
Yep.
Send him whatever you want to send him. And,
Yeah, hit me up.
Just
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hit me up, Adam Krigler, ADAMCRIGLER.
And stay tuned. High Octane Media says, I enjoy watching your show. You are level-headed. I live in Minnesota. They better not bring that crap up north. We are locked and loaded. Well, be safe.
Stay safe.
Yeah, we don't want to. We hope for the best. Jordan says, Mr. Poole, could you call your roof Korean brothers and sisters to help defend innocent people during this conflict? You actually get a special pager when you are when you become of age as a Korean. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's awesome. I need to see this.
LaSalle Rhymes says, Happy Friday. Ready to Rumble says, there is only one way to stop these riots. Bring back sports. Well, and they'll riot when their team wins or loses. Ario says, also, I'd love to help you guys with your card game. Went to school for for game, art, and design. While I'm no expert, I'd love to do something related to my education, and you wouldn't even have to pay me. Well, we certainly would pay anybody working with us, but feel free to tweet it at him.
Yeah, hit me up. It's cool. Send me some of your stuff.
Magic Man says, those Antifa are communist. They want to destroy the society using chaos so that Antifa will present themselves as hero against the oppressive USA government. Tovin Benson says, I am afraid it will get bloody if it goes to the suburbs. Gray man time. Weeb Luke says, throughout history, every empire had some kind of entertainment. Romans had gladiatorial coliseum. American sports movie TV. Unrest happens when there's no distraction from reality. Student of history says, this is getting sketchy, and I'm happy AF to live in a town of sub 10K people, and frankly, it would be a bad idea to come in and start problems. Also, congrats on 20K hype. You know, YouTube has been broken for a long time, so I'm not really tracking any of the numbers or anything like that.
Yeah.
03322888 says, hello from Hong Kong. I watch your vids every day, really helps me get through work. Any suggestions where my family and I should go if it hits the fan down here? Feels like the whole world is going insane nowadays. I heard that Britain was going to offer a path to citizenship for Hong Kong residents.
Yeah,
Really?
like
Yeah.
3 million?
That's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah,
Yep.
so super nice.
Yeah, get away from China, man.
Right on.
CrossFit Nerd says, tinfoil hat on. You mentioned in an earlier video that Target doesn't care about the store being looted. What about the small businesses? They get destroyed, and that's less competition for Target. That's another good point.
That's true, yeah.
Somebody tweeted that Targets in Minneapolis, the one that was burned, was an experimental building for loss prevention and security and surveillance.
Serious?
It's true
Insulting.
that Minneapolis is Target HQ. It's also true that Minneapolis Target stores are where they launch all of their experimental projects. So there's tons of stores you can look up, like new lanes, new cash registers. I don't know if it is true.
Okay.
That store that was looted was their loss prevention test store. But many people were questioning why a Target was placed in what they called the hood. I'm using their language because I'm trying to be sensitive. But yeah, and the speculation from the activists is that they knew poor people would steal, and they wanted to test loss prevention techniques.
Oof.
Yep, using the population as guinea pigs for their nationwide store.
Wow. But you don't know if that's true or not? That's just
I
speculation?
so I know it's true that they're headquartered there.
Okay.
I know it's true that Minneapolis has a lot of Target test sites, and it does a lot of experiments and tests. And beyond that, I don't know.
Okay.
But what I can say is if the protesters think that, then it's no surprise they burned it
that's
down.
why.
They
That
thought they
kinda
were being
makes
targeted
sense.
by a major corporation.
Yeah.
Winter Wind says, my dad was a Boston cop during the Wall Street protests and the Boston Marathon incident. I'm proud of him and his service, but you have no idea how happy I am that he's retired right now. Yes, seriously.
Yeah, I bet.
And Quick says, Tim and Co. No one knew Floyd before this happened. Can you imagine how bad it will get if attorney Huber, Durham, and Barr indict Obama-Hillary administration for their treason and spying? I love you guys. I'm here every day. Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Here's what they've already been speculating. Moving into the election, Bill Barr issues indictments of high-level Obama administration officials. triggering cries from the left that Trump is trying to flip the election and steal it because Biden will be, implicated in some capacity. Then, they actually wrote the story. This was actually a story written in, I think it was the New York Times.
Oh, wow.
That Democrats are starting to panic. It's funny way to phrase it because, they say it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That Trump will lose, Biden will win, and Trump will call it criminal and issue indictments, and they'll go after him, and that's what's going to happen. And then if that does, then boogaloo. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but think about what's going on with Obamagate, this scandal. They might actually issue indictments. There's a criminal investigation going on. We don't know. I mean, people are going to think Trump is trying to steal it. They're going to say, aha, he's weaponizing the government against his political opponents. We have to resist. And then what happens next year?
Oh, boy.
ADD Venturer says, WSB TV Atlanta has live footage of ATL, one cop car torched so far.
It's getting crazy.
No one's business is. On the bright side of everything, the guy that lost his sports bar, his GoFundMe is at $360K. I am so happy to hear that.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a man named Corboy Bala. He's a firefighter. He's a family man. He's an entrepreneur, and he saved up to open up his own sports bar. It was his dream business, and they destroyed it before he could cross that finish line. And that's why, I shouted out the GoFundMe. A bunch of people started retweeting it and started. I found it. I didn't start it or anything like that. Like, it was already really high. But I'm glad to see that he's making a ton of money off this, and I hope he's doing good. Jeremy Robeson says, what are your thoughts on the footage of the guy dressed in black smashing windows of an AutoZone? And now it's circulating that they think he's been identified as a local police officer. I'm going to go ahead and say I think it's fake news.
I think so too.
You can't tell who the guy's you can't tell.
Right.
The activists have an agenda to push that narrative.
Of course.
To pass the blame off of the activists. It was one guy at one AutoZone and multiple buildings were burned.
Yeah.
That's pretty convenient.
And they're showing some random guy next to him like, see, it's him. And I'm like, this guy's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's him. There's text messages saying, oh my God, that's him. It's him. I don't know if that's any of that's
okay.
true. And of course the police said it's not true, but like, look, you can't, we investigated ourselves. Hey, what do you do though if they lie about you like that? J-Max says, society is collapsing and I'm just in here painting my Warhammer 40K minis and hanging out with my kids. No riots here in AZ that I know of. Kind of glad I live in a desert now. Arm yourself and protect what's yours.
Yep.
Stay safe and make sure you have food.
Everything in Arizona wants to kill you.
It's true.
Leor,
like nature. I mean,
Yeah.
Everything's got spikes.
Leor Engelstein says, I have a buddy who is a 6'4" black man and is a SWAT officer.
Ooh.
Since this story broke, he is strictly wearing street clothes and trying not to look like an officer at all. Basketball shorts and jerseys. Ricky Hunt says, if they arrested Chauvin, he would have been held in one of the precincts that were burned to the ground. Whoa. Graf von Tierl says, if there isn't a more ample reason to get out of New Jersey, and any big city for that matter, here we go.
Yep.
Eggman says, this is why the lockdown should have taken off sooner. Everyone is already pent up from being denied most of their freedom.
Yep.
George Floyd's case wasn't the powder keg, it was the spark that landed on the barrel.
Yep.
Exactly.
Jacob Williams says, is it time for every business to get roof Koreans on the payroll? I mean, or just defend your business. But you'll see what happens. They'll charge you with murder.
Yeah, immediately.
They already did.
Yep. Andrew Starr says, this is the media. For years of enraging people topped off with 3 months on lockdown, out of fear the media would and did crucify anyone who disagreed. This is it. Hope everyone is armed. Matthew Stockhausen says, I'm so glad nothing really happens here in New Hampshire. There are protests, yes, but basically always peacefully. Zach Ulysses says, I imagine this will be the series of events. Lockdowns leading to job losses leading to mass welfare crisis going to countrywide economic stagnation and homelessness. This is just in U.S. theory, though. King Canuck says, no idea when you'll read this. Send at 8:30. Remember, when I made a shirt idea for you that was a bad silhouette cut out of your face, Tim, you rejected it because my beard isn't that luscious. There you go. Kent Leon says, still see people on social media lose their minds over the idea of having a compromise with lifting lockdowns. No, not content, having the choice to stay in or go out. Misery loves company. Devlin Bowman says, certainly it is the most dangerous of human fallacies, I believe. In certainty, there can be no reason, no learning, no betterment. There need not be justice or only justifications of the irrational. Sebastian Garcia says, Adam, I just sent you on Facebook Messenger either a cop or Antifa smashing windows. G. Bart, thanks for the super chat. Joshua Grist says, hey, Tim, I disagree wholly with riots and looting, but agree with peaceful protests. I thought it was nuts when Rising said about the cop and Klobuchar letting him off from past issues. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Brett Fenton says, thanks for everything you guys do. Wow.
Thank you.
Moko Mothman MM47 says, I wonder if the same people who make the claim they were sending a message by burning down their own town will demand help from the federal government or complain they don't have the means to make it. They will, of
If
course.
it was
Sure
their
will.
own town.
Yep.
Ikej says, hearing all this crap going on, I'm glad I can concealed carry, especially if this crap spills over to the Chicago area. I hope you guys can do the same soon. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Janice Phillips says, music. Yes, please. I've been curious about your taste in tunes and am indeed wondering what genres you're going to play. Did you get your book, Tim? Did I get my book? Which book? What book was I getting?
I do not know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Maybe not.
But we are going to play music later.
I'm excited.
Derpernaut says, F for your uncle, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Vosh says, rioters in Columbus, Ohio broke into State House. Police have broken them up. Black Magic says, everything I want to say is censored. Remember the protester who compared China to a bodily orifice?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After China's actions with Hong Kong, let's get some Fs in the chat for that brave man. Rip.
For sure.
Didactics with David Lopez says, Scores Sports Bar GoFundMe now over 360K. Thanks for sharing. Tim, posted on my Instagram. Many of my friends also donated. That's so cool, man. Mr. Schwagen says, I don't approve of this type of reaction, but I understand. Remember when the Philly PD firebombed the poor black neighborhoods?
Yeah, back in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm not being hyperbolic. They firebombed an entire neighborhood.
Yep.
And this is
Killed,
what you
they
get.
killed a bunch of kids, too. It was messed up.
Yep. No Joy 7 says, watching from Portugal. This is very confusing to understand to a foreigner. The whys and the people involved. Love you. Appreciate it.
Thank
It
you.
is difficult.
Moko Mothman MM47 says, it doesn't matter what a war is predicated upon. People will exploit violence for their own tribal purposes. It doesn't matter if you support one side or the other. The only heroes are survivors. And victory is written by the, history is written by the victors.
Yep.
Track Media only says context matter. Officer ignored training and other officers. It sounds like he will correctly be charged. It is the best thing you can do after someone dies because nothing will bring him back. So he was trained. It was dangerous to put Floyd the way he was. The other officer said, should we roll him over? And he said, no. The other one officer checked a pulse and said, I can't get a pulse or something to that effect. And then he still wouldn't move. It's Fathead says, Mr. Poole, I asked for an opinion a few weeks ago about the reset button and COVID. So you still think that it's not true? I don't remember exactly what you asked, but certainly things are getting crazy. Cree J says, please don't keep it light. Balance maybe, but hit us with the truth. You are my news and need full honesty and opinions. I appreciate all you guys do. Keep it up. Thank you. Did we get a jump? We did. Let's see. All right. Where are we at?
Doing good?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure everybody knows YouTube will jump and then all of the super chats load at once.
Yeah.
And then I have to figure out where we are in the super chats because it's very, very difficult.
And we have a lot of people with us today. So, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit the like button if you would be so kind. It really does help.
And share.
Scott Levenberg says, greets from Minneapolis. I'm in that situation right now. I've got my rifle loaded because I'll take my chances with a jury over an intruder. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Be
Yep.
safe out there. That's a really good point, man.
Yep.
Isaiah says, if the radical left never took control of the media, this might never have happened. Innocent people are getting hurt because of them. Absolutely abhorrent.
Agreed.
Let's see. Kyran X. What is happening is eerily reminding me of the Star Trek Deep Space Nine two-part episode dealing with sanctuary cities and class divide riots, which took part in 2024. Bell riots in past tense.
That's the only Star Trek I never watched. But I hear it's good, though.
It is good. I like it.
Deep
Yeah.
Space Nine. Yeah.
Johan Oldman says, the pendulum of our history is swinging toward chaos. Will it gradually swing back or will it break off and go flying?
Who knows?
Kite the Twin Blade says, watch the Yuri Bezmenov interview on 2020 from the 80s, Tim. Watch it, take notes. The mind virus survived longer than the architects. That's the propaganda guy, I'm pretty sure. People send me that stuff all the time. Fearless Soldier says, my dad claims to be a liberal, but he's there's times where I gotta tell him, but there are times, I guess we're trying to say, where I gotta tell him that he is not left. When I told him one of the cops were Asian, he said that's white in this situation, and I was just like, Matt Scott says, Tim, Adam Lids, I have been a fan for 2 years and love all the content. One question. Is it possible someone is orchestrating protests in background to what ultimate end? Thanks. Well, it's possible, but I just don't.
Sure.
I don't think these things are likely. I think opportunists rush out the door when they get a chance, you know?
Yeah.
Samurai says, I watch every video you put out every single day, but it astonishes me how you don't understand what's happening right now. The Democrats are losing and they know it. They are burning everything down on their way out. Maybe,
Maybe,
you know,
yeah.
in various ways. Cannon says, hey, Tim, I'm legally blind content creator. I was inspired by your work to do some citizen journalism of my own. Thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Keith, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Chris Nicholson says, our problem isn't just lack of purpose, but lack of threat to motivate cooperation.
I agree.
Threats went from predators to enemy countries that were a threat to the common man. And then without that, we find reason to hate each other. NOS says, I'm pretty sure Markiplier made a video taking a far left view on the situation. He never called it the riots and said that America is racist in its roots. I don't know who that is. Sorry.
Markiplier. He's pretty big.
Markiplier?
Yeah.
John Sislowski says, fire up that UFO.
Oh.
Firing it up for
Okay.
you.
There we go.
Moko Mothman says, curfew's in effect. Protesters doubling down at the moment in Minneapolis. Expect another clash tonight. Awesome Sauce says, I'm fully aware of the evil of rioting, looting from innocent people, but something about destroying the system appeals to a part of me during this messed up year. I think after everyone was locked down and had their rights, taken from them by these, unconstitutional orders, people just they don't care.
Yep.
MCAV, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
Nick Schroeder says, best podcast since Rogan. That is all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's a
Very
powerful
much.
statement.
Yeah, wow.
Ghostable says, what's Wegmans like? I live in the city it was founded in. I don't know. What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Steve Martin, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
The Studio Rob says, do you really think the laws of our reality can be enforced on companies that could just easily pack up and operate anywhere? Check out The Sovereign Individual by James Dale Davidson. Food for thought. We'll check it out. Jacob Bacco says, dude, these cops will start carrying live ammo if these riots continue, and things will get horrible because they'll have to force these riots to end. JC, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
Irene says, trying to explain to my progressive friends why them automatically associating thug and looter with black people isn't itself racist. They refuse to get it. Also, congrats on 22K watching live. Oh, holy cow. Yeah, well,
yeah.
Thank you.
thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
We just
Yeah,
keep
love
doing the
you guys.
show, and that's the secret to success is you keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pavoto says, just checking. Third chat. At Adam, sent message on Instagram about Navy fact check. I don't have Twitter and no eager to make one. Otherwise, I greatly enjoy all three of your content and steady flow of info.
Oh, okay.
Domo,
Yeah, I'll look
appreciate
for
it. And then we just got another big jump. I
Yay,
love when that
jumping.
happens. Super chat jump.
Jump for
Caleb
joy.
says, I doubt this will be the spark, but we are no longer a nation united. Lincoln said a nation divided cannot stand, and this is true. The media-seeking greed has caused major rifts to our lives. I certainly think so. Razio says, a more lighthearted topic. Just learned from the Emergency Awesome channel that the ZNJL cut, the Zack Snyder cut, will involve a massive backstory scene about Darkseid during the war in the Age of Heroes, almost
cool.
a mini episode in a movie. Wow.
Oh, that makes sense why they
Excited.
can just cut it out because
Yeah.
it's a backstory.
Oh,
That's
sweet.
dope. I'm very excited for that.
Keith Wagner says, Daily Wire reports, medical examiner reports, no evidence that Floyd died of strangulation,
Yep.
but by intoxicants, underlying conditions, still no point of knee on the throat.
Right.
Yep.
So I read the report earlier today. It said it was a combination of underlying health effects with the restraint that they knew was dangerous.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like people.
They pulled him out of the car.
They've shown us over the past 2 months that it doesn't matter if you have underlying conditions. If you had COVID-19, you died from COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this
Right.
dude, I don't care if he had underlying conditions. He died from a knee to
on the
his neck.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
That's it.
That's
Period.
fair.
Yep.
I approve of
If
that.
that's the
Manslaughter,
argument,
yo.
that's the
Yeah.
argument they wanted to make. It's the
It's like,
argument they get
sure,
to live
okay,
with.
yeah.
We'll do it.
Yep. Cheryl O'Callahan says, Doug for male version of Karen. Doug.
Not bad.
Angel Rodriguez says, Tim, I work at a Target in San Jose, California, working night shift, and we just got told the store is shutting down overnight because of protests. Yikes, man. Stay safe.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Peterson says, a black man ended a white cop's life in Grand Forks, North Dakota on Wednesday. Did you hear about it? I didn't.
No.
And that's the media. Lazarus Online says, in general, be an ally, not an authoritarian.
Yep.
Jimbo says, this is what it looks like in any history books how change happens. Even in Rome, there was chaos and fire at the end. I live in Minneapolis and have heard that people are starting to fly in. They are. This happens all the time. People are driving in. I'm hearing from people saying, we're on our way. We're on our way.
Yep.
NetOp says, love the show. Stay safe. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tracy Nolan says, the idiots in D.C. don't understand. They're on federal land, and the charges are stiffer. The military will be called in, and they don't play well with idiots. And we learned this during Occupy. People are getting federal charges.
Wow.
Jake Knoll says, watching from PA, so far no riots that I know of. If we need someone to blame for the virus, blame the red Chinese. Frank Taylor says, it absolutely is organized. Anyone who has seen the far left organizations knows this. Tensions are being fomented and stoked by the media.
You ain't
see it.
helping, that's for sure.
Ferdinand Munoz, thanks for the super chat. Vincent, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Stunted Shadow says, for the Toke team from Canada, Keep up the good work, my brothers, and I really enjoy your content. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Caesar says the government wouldn't send the police to protect the black small business owners and families in Minneapolis, but they have managed to keep rioters out of the CNN headquarters. Priorities on display. Wonderful, isn't it? John Dempsey, thanks for the super chat. Elizabeth Barlow says, I would like to help with graphic design if you need it. I want to help news programming that actually does news.
Oh, very cool.
Well, before we're a bit out
Yep.
from getting the building and hiring people, but you can always follow Adam and send him stuff. He's the liaison essentially for fact check story ideas. Or
Yeah, there's my handle right there at the bottom of the screen. You got me.
There you go.
yeah, but we do still have very, 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 very big news that we need to get to.
It's another thing.
Donald Trump was censored earlier today, and many people on the left said he wasn't actually censored. They said his tweet is still available, therefore it's not censored, but it was. So Trump had two tweets. One of those tweets said that the military was, he essentially said the military was standing by, and that if, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. There were two tweets. The second tweet was made unavailable by Twitter, meaning if you went to the first tweet, you could not see the second. It just said, this tweet is unavailable. That's censorship. Just because you can still find ways to figure out through it, that's just called navigating the censorship. So if you went to Trump's actual Twitter account, you'd see a box that said, this tweet has broken the rules for glorifying violence. Well, as it turns out, the White House has tweeted an email they received from Twitter saying, nope, you didn't break any rules. And I think I have it. I don't know exactly which tweet it is. So let me try and figure it out. So here we go, right here. Twitter, in an email to the White House moments ago, admitted that the very tweet they are censoring does not violate any Twitter rules, so why are they still censoring it? And we can show you both examples here. This is an email they're posting that mentions the email that was censored. These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty, and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts, thank you. They said, we have investigated the reported content and could not identify any violations of the Twitter rules. Now look at this right here. This tweet violated the Twitter rules about glorifying violence. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain accessible. So this is hidden. If I click it, you can see the original tweet. So yes, there are varying degrees of censorship. But as I mentioned, they made it unavailable. Mark Zuckerberg issued a statement, which is, wow. Now, he starts his statement with this, what looks like PR pandering, where he talks about, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. And I can respect it because I'm not happy those people lost their lives, for sure. But it's really much like, please don't get mad at me. I get it. We're dealing with tough times. He says, I know the conversation happening amongst our black friends, colleagues, and neighbors are incredibly painful. As Americans, this affects all of us, and we have an obligation to help address the inequality in how justice is served. This is becoming something I care deeply about. And this is where it gets interesting. He says, I've been struggling with how to respond to the president's tweets and posts all day. Personally, I have a visceral negative reaction to this kind of divisive and inflammatory rhetoric. This moment calls for unity and calmness, and we need empathy for the people and communities who are hurting. We need to come together as a country to pursue justice and break the cycle. But I'm responsible for reacting not just in my personal capacity, but as the leader of an institution committed to free expression. I know many people are upset that we've left the president's posts up, but our position is that we should enable as much expression as possible unless it will cause imminent risk of specific harms or dangers spelled out in clear policies. We looked very closely at the post that discussed the protests in Minnesota to evaluate whether it violated our policies. Although the post had a troubling historical reference, we decided to leave it up because the National Guard references meant we read it as a warning about state action, and we think people need to know if the government is planning to deploy force. Our policy around incitement of violence allows discussion around state use of force. Although I think today's situation raises important questions about what potential limits of that discussion should be, the president later posted again, saying the original post was warning about the possibility that looting could lead to violence. We decided that this post, which explicitly discouraged violence, also does not violate our policies and is important for people to see. Unlike Twitter, we do not have a policy of putting a warning in front of posts that may incite violence, because we believe that if a post incites violence, it should be removed regardless of whether it is newsworthy. Even if it comes from a politician, we have been in touch with the White House today to explain the policies as well. And then he closes out talking about heated debates. But man, will I tell you what,
Wow.
he is absolutely right on that issue. I'm impressed with Mark Zuckerberg, to
I'm
say the least.
surprised. I agree with
Agreed.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back real quick and just point out, some of the things he's saying, that he's basically calling out Twitter for saying they think the post is newsworthy. I think that's a sharp dig at Twitter. Twitter didn't say newsworthy; it said public interest.
Yeah.
But Mark Zuckerberg clearly thinks that they leave things up because of news potential. But wow, is it amazing? Mark Zuckerberg is actually correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Trump was warning about looting, and Trump tweeted this. Here's what he said: "Looting leads to shooting, and that's why a man was shot and killed in Minneapolis on Wednesday night. Or look at what just happened in Louisville with 7 people shot. I don't want this to happen, and that's what the expression put out last night means. It was spoken as a fact, not as a statement. It's very simple. Nobody should have any problems with this other than the haters and those looking to cause trouble on social media. Honor the memory of George Floyd." And of course, you can always expect Jennifer Rubin to chime in with her stupid reply guy post. What a pathetic lie. I don't care. Please just stop.
He's explaining himself. How's that?
He is
a
explaining
lie?
himself. And
All these people out there are not honoring George
Absolutely
Floyd.
not. No.
I know.
He would not have
That
wanted
is huge right there. We need to honor him, and yes, he needs justice. Absolutely. And
He's
this
getting
guy,
it.
and he's getting it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not about George Floyd anymore. It's not. It's a much bigger thing.
they're chanting in Houston what charges aren't enough. Is that what
Yeah.
they're saying?
Something like that.
So what's enough?
Nothing.
Change the entire
Nothing's enough.
societal
No,
Burn it down.
norm.
wait. They're throwing bricks at CNN's windows.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with George Floyd?
Nothing.
What does riding in Atlanta and burning, cars and stuff have to do with George Floyd in Minneapolis? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I can entertain this and say it's the greater injustice of police brutality across the country,
Right.
and systemic violence and all that stuff. But wouldn't you then protest the police?
Exactly.
Why are you going to CNN?
Why are you going to Target?
Why didn't they go to Fox News?
Why are you going to AutoZone?
Why are you going to AutoZone?
Why are you
McDonald's?
why are you burning down Wendy's?
Yeah.
low income housing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can certainly talk about that, but the censorship issue I think is really important right now, and we're in a really crazy time. So I mentioned this earlier. I periodically will DM with Jack, and we had a conversation. The gist of it is we need open source public access networks, and I'm kind of I like Jack Dorsey. The conversation I had with him, last year with Joe Rogan, off camera afterwards, I really do think he is a good person who wants to do right, who is incredibly, incredibly naive.
I mean, we spoke about this before, and you also alluded to the fact that he doesn't run Twitter anymore, right?
Well, that's my opinion.
Oh, okay.
My opinion is that he's more of a figurehead, and
Right.
that Vijaya
That's what I
Gadde
was saying,
runs
yeah.
the show. That's why she showed up to Joe Rogan podcast, because the issue about Twitter was what boiled over, and he needed her to talk about it. When so right now Ted Cruz wants a criminal investigation of Twitter for violating the Iranian sanctions. Twitter allows the Ayatollah and high-ranking officials at these countries, they allow them access to the platform, which provides a service for them, displaying their message to all of these people. And that, according to several Republicans, including Ted Cruz, is a violation of these of sanctions.
Yep.
Vijaya Gadde is the one who wrote the letter saying, "Too bad." Yeah, it was amazing. This was back in February, and she basically said, "We provide a very important public service for people to connect with, world leaders and stuff like that." And my reaction is like, "And?"
So
So I
that's
look at it this way.
directly against the law.
Right. What if you said, "I understand you're upset about the sanctions on this country, but we provide a very important service in self-defense. That's why we're supplying weapons."
Right.
I understand it's not a one-for-one. Yeah, giving weapons to an
right.
enemy is different. But they're allowing them to propagandize in our country against us when their adversaries and their gunships are swarming ours, and people are they're shooting at each other like warning shots and stuff.
And at the same time censoring the president
Yup.
of our country.
Yeah.
That's part of what
Huh.
Trump's executive order was, that they allow Chinese disinformation on the platform, but censor the president. So then Twitter immediately reacts and puts a flag on the Chinese Communist Party's tweets, misinformation. And that's when I was like, oh, they're sweating bullets.
Yep.
Look, I have good things to say about Jack as a person. I say he's naive because I think he kind of understands network technology, but he has no understanding of contemporary politics at all.
Yeah.
And so this is the problem we're facing with these big tech companies. It's young people who have found this powerful technology that is damaging political discourse across this country, making things worse. They have no idea how politics works. They have no idea the intricacies of certain issues. They have no idea how the media lies and the problems of solving these issues. And then they drop nuclear bombs. So here's the craziest thing. I'm impressed, Mark Zuckerberg. I got to say it.
Too, yeah.
I've ragged on that guy a lot.
It's the first time I've ever heard that said
But that was
ever.
that was like, yeah, that was a great post.
Yep.
So Donald Trump tweeted about if mail-in voting is allowed, there's no way there won't be widespread voter fraud. Twitter put a tag on this saying, get the full facts. When you click it, it brought you to the opinion columns of certain news organizations. And I was like, huh?
Yeah. Where are the facts?
You want to know what I got really mad about this?
Why?
Because in Paterson, New Jersey right now, 3,000 ballots have been voided.
Yeah, right.
And the signatures don't match. An NAACP leader is calling for the election to be outright canceled, and everyone agrees.
This year's election, the presidential election.
No.
Oh, what was the election
this is
for?
a local election that was mail-in vote only. A local election, mail-in vote only, 3,000 bunk ballots.
Yeah.
Some people said my ballot was disqualified, but that was my ballot. Why was it disqualified? So it's a nightmare. Mm-hmm. They say there's no evidence of this, but the story is happening right now. And activists are like, we need to do something about this. And so I'm like, why, Jack, would you fact check an opinion? So he basically apologized for this, sort of. He sort of apologized, saying we shouldn't have done that or something, and we should, he put out a statement about how they're going to continue to fact check the president. But my response is, there's no circumstance where you can just determine who is correct. So this is why I think Jack is completely naive and so wrong about this. His assumption is CNN is news. They're right. Trump is the president, but he's not news, so he's wrong. So then when you get CNN saying there's no mail-in voter fraud, and I live in a state where we're watching it happen right now, that I find that offensive.
Yeah.
That these people, especially a marginalized group,
Yep.
that you don't care. That's why it's all the protest stuff is superficial. You don't actually care about this stuff. You read the news, you believe what they say, and it's wrong. There will likely be widespread voter fraud. The problem is calling it voter fraud. You should call it,
voter manipulation, maybe? Or?
No, like incompetence.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Real Clear Politics did.
Well, it's worse than that, though, because the signatures didn't match. So it's
Right.
manipulation, though. So it's a little worse than incompetence.
But can we?
That's like them losing the ballots instead of changing them.
But that's
that's
where
malicious.
I was going. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real Clear Politics said that in the past 4 elections, federally,
Mm-hmm.
28 million ballots have gone missing.
That's insane. 28 million. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of votes.
Yep.
7 million votes per election, people.
That's crazy.
Whew.
Yep. And they want it. And then when Trump says it, an opinion, Twitter intervenes.
With more opinions.
Imagine it this way. Twitter is basically saying that they want their goal to be providing counterpoints or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know. Climate change is disputed. Does that mean if Al Gore tweets climate change is bad, you're going to put a tag showing a bunch of people saying there's no such thing as climate change? Is that real? Does that mean when Greta Thunberg says, we've got 12 years to make changes, you'll put a tag and you'll link to a bunch of conservatives arguing? No, of course he's not going to do that. And therein lies the big problem.
Yep.
So what gets me mad is
Biased.
we talked about this a year ago. Federated networks. Look, think of this way.
What is that?
So Jack did a big Twitter thread about this.
Okay.
And I want to see it happen in December. He tweeted about it in December. I want to see it happen. He said Twitter should basically be a protocol. What that means is, like HTTP, you type in a browser, a web address, you go there and get it.
Okay.
The way this would work is the reverse of email. So whereas email is, I put in your address and the message gets sent to you, Twitter should be that I subscribe to your address, and whenever you post, it goes to everyone subscribed to your address. So if Twitter opened up to the Fediverse, federated networking, like which includes Gab, for instance,
Okay.
Gab is alternative version of Twitter, sort of. Then you could go on Twitter, and when Twitter bans, you, Adam Krigler,
Okay.
you set up your own server on your own website, and then I go on Twitter and search for Adam at adamkrigler.com, and then I can click follow. And then on Twitter, I can still see your tweets
Oh, okay.
because you aren't on Twitter's network. I'm just receiving your feed. So Twitter's the biggest version of this, but they could all connect and then no one could ban anyone. And then you know what I would do? I'd create my own. I'd create my own timcast.com version of Twitter.
Yeah.
That only is for me. No one can ban me, and I can follow everybody, and everyone can follow me.
Sounds legit.
Yep.
It sounds
And
very
so
cool.
think about it this way. Let's say you're on Twitter, and you follow, Tim at, TimcastIRL.com or something.
I do.
Well, it's not.
I know.
A
real
form
thing.
of that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say Twitter bans me, and they say we've disconnected IRL. They're every other server I'm still connected to, so you still get my feed. And then you're on Twitter, and you're like, I can't get Tim anymore. I better open up a new account
Yeah.
on a private server. So it would incentivize these companies not to do this. I don't know, man. It's been.
Well, it's kind of like what BitChute is, isn't it? Like people have told you all the time, oh, YouTube took this video away, and you're like, oh, and then they're like, don't worry, I'm watching it on BitChute.
Well, that's like a backup system, right?
Okay, it's similar, I guess.
The Fediverse would basically be like, technically you can get your website banned, like what happened with, I think it was it the Daily Stormer? Is the name of the website?
That is the terrible website that we don't
The
like.
terrible website we don't like.
That I don't like.
But they had a
Words in my
website,
mouth.
and Google seized their domain name or something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, that's
Wow.
that's not
Wow.
right.
They like put a lock on it or something and shut them down. I get it, man. They post nasty stuff people don't like, but wow. So it can still happen. They can sever the chain at a bunch of different links.
Yeah.
But if you're on your own website, and someone can follow based on your web address. Yeah, you can go to timcast.com. No one's going to ban timcast.com. It's like I own the domain and I pay for hosting. The host can ban my server time. I can set up my own server.
Yeah.
So you compared it to an RSS feed?
Well, no, I don't know if that's it's protocol. It's the easier way to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That made sense to me.
Oh, well,
They're
there's
It's
not-
dope. Well, I
yeah.
want to see it. That sounds awesome.
Well,
So
here's-
they
here's-
said that
here's
it's
the
coming
issue.
soon or what?
No, I don't know. I don't believe it.
Oh, okay.
It's been over a year and like 3 months
Yeah.
since I sat down with Jack and was like, when are you going to fix this?
Mm-hmm.
And where are we now?
Same place?
No, it's worse.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
It's worse than it's ever been.
They're more dug in.
And they're just making controversy after controversy. I heard their stock dropped because of this.
Really?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I mean, think about what TikTok did, because they're owned by that Chinese company or whatever. When people started getting harassed by bullies, they
Yeah.
banned the victims of the harassment.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to ban the one person than the 300 doing the harassment. You lose money if you give it to 300 people.
Yeah.
It was actually the
Savage.
smarter thing to do, but totally savage.
Yeah.
Savagery.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It's true.
I don't know, man. Twitter is totally broken and biased, and it's like they're desperate to please everybody, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
No,
And
they're,
so-
they're desperate to please a certain crowd, not
Right.
everybody.
No, they do want to please everybody,
Okay.
but they're biased in what they read.
Sure. Okay. That
Otherwise,
makes
they
more
would just
sense.
ban Trump outright. They'd be like, "You got it, gone."
Yeah.
So here's my question: what makes these people at Twitter so arrogant they think they can change the direction of the wind? You can't do it. It's like watching someone stand in a river and try and push the river aside.
Or push the water back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like,
Go back up. Go back up.
or like they stop the water and they're like, we've done it, we've dealt with the problem, and meanwhile everything's flooding past them, and you're
Yeah.
like, you've done nothing to stop anything. Just stop getting in the way. You're making it worse. Let people fact check Trump. They do every day. They tweet at him. They say nonsense. There you go. Trump should turn off. Actually, I wonder if Trump can turn off replies now. This is. Think about this.
Oh, I bet he can.
A court ruling. Trump can't block people because when he tweets, he creates a public forum,
Right.
and he's a government actor. Twitter made a thing for verified users where you can stop it, so only people you mention
Only the people you follow.
or people you
think.
mention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can
or
choose.
mention.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Trump could turn off replies.
Only
and-
for blue checks, right?
Oh wow, Trump should do this. So many careers would be gone.
If
There
you,
there
The
are
Trump
people,
reply guys.
yes, who build a following and then do a shout out like donate to my PayPal. Yep. Trump could get rid of all of them right now, because when he tweets, he can just say, "Only if I mention you can you respond," and then no one can. No
but he
one will
hasn't
respond.
blocked anyone.
What do you mean?
He hasn't blocked anyone.
He did. He was forced to unblock them.
In the instance where he says you can't respond unless I have you
Oh,
listed,
right.
he's not
yes.
blocking anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not a violation of whatever ruling or whatever. I guess we'll see how it plays out. But how about we jump over to the super chats?
Yeah.
Oh, I read your
Yep.
mind.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See, where are we at here? Let's go through all these super chats. You know what? I'll do one quick thing here. I want to show you guys this right here. I'm gonna hit a button. So
Yeah.
let's This is Scores Sports Bar Minneapolis rebuild. This guy's a firefighter. Let me see if I can.
Shout out to Scores.
Yeah,
Shout out to
man.
Scores.
What's his name?
Corboy Bala.
Core boy.
Look at this. Perfect example of a good American serving his community, a family man,
Awesome.
firefighter, risks
Yeah.
his life every day.
Saved up for his dream.
Saved up
sports
for his
bar.
dream.
What amount do you have there?
343. Well,
No,
I'm
we're
gonna,
at-
but
Okay. I don't want to bury the lead there.
we're gonna
My
refresh
bad.
it in real
Yes,
time.
do it because
Let's
I
see where
have
it's
a
at.
different number.
So I pulled this up before we started. I've been tracking it all day, and I'm going to refresh it now to see where he's
Oh,
at.
I know what it
Wait.
is.
What do you think
Too
it's
late.
gonna be?
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
yes! I was gonna
Woohoo.
guess 400. You didn't give me the chance.
I want Mr. Bala to go on a Hawaiian vacation with his family,
Yep.
kick back and have some pina coladas, and just enjoy himself, and ignore the haters, and ignore the pain, and ignore the evil.
Mhm.
And I hope that this day, here's what I said. I hope that this day, instead of being one of the worst days of his life, becomes the start of some of the best days of his life.
Yeah. Here.
Amen.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's $400,000, man.
Good for him.
It started at 25.
Yeah.
Man, it breaks my heart like seeing this story. I'm biased too. He's a firefighter. I have firefighters in the family, so I'm like, I know
I got friends who are firefighters.
the
Yeah.
fear.
They're good people.
There's a fear in the back of your mind that one day they don't come back. It's not a job where it's like they're a middle manager in a paper factory.
And you got to earn your way in. It's not
tough.
It's not easy to become a firefighter.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad said to me, from his perspective at least, no fighter enters a building thinking they're going to die, because if they did, they wouldn't go in.
Right.
It's
So,
like
yep.
you go in when you know it's safe and you know how to handle this, but the risk is there.
Yep.
And there's some sad stories I've heard. So I got a lot of respect for firefighters, a whole lot.
Here's
And
to
when
you,
I-
Mr. Ballin.
When I saw this story, I was mad.
I'm excited for his future now.
I was mad that they would do this to this guy. It's not justice. Targeting this dude. He did everything right. And then one day he wakes up to find that his dream had been stolen. He was standing at the finish line of his dream,
Yep.
owning his own sports bar. But because of the coronavirus...
It wasn't even open yet, right?
It wasn't open yet. Because of the coronavirus, he couldn't open when he was supposed to.
man.
Ah.
So he gets on lockdown. And then finally he's like, we're getting ready to open up. They
Insult and
destroy
injury.
everything.
My goodness.
And it gets worse. This is... Wow. They destroy it. He's on camera crying, saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I worked so hard for this.
Yeah.
Members of the community came and helped him clean up.
That's great.
And then he's with a smile on his face. He goes to work the next day, gets a call. The building's been burned to the ground.
Oh my gosh.
And so he says in the story he left and went and took pictures and was just, he doesn't know what to do now.
Yeah.
And then I saw this and I was like, I donated. And then
I donated too.
And then I made a video. I'm like, I got to talk about this guy's story, man. This is my heart goes out to all of the small business owners who lost their livelihoods, because certainly it's more than just Mr. Bala.
Yeah. I mean, it's been happening for months now. This is just an extreme case now.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
even worse.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
now there's people causing it.
Right.
Not a virus that we can't control. Obviously the government shut everybody down, but now people did this to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of other businesses that were burned to the ground in Minneapolis too.
Yeah.
So it's just one story out of so many more that didn't have the fortune that somebody filmed them.
Yeah.
So it is a good fortune for him. But I'm glad, some happiness, right? I was thinking how cool it would be if we could raise, money and then just help everybody out.
Yeah.
I don't have the capacity. I don't understand. I just saw this GoFundMe. It was at 45 or 40 something $1,000 when I first saw it.
Wow.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
this morning. And so then I think in my video it shows 60 and I'm like, wow, look at
Ooh,
that.
that's great.
Or something. And then just throughout the day it's just taken off.
Awesome.
There's a lot of good people. But I do think we got to figure out how to help all of these small businesses.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, man. If
They
those
need help.
businesses don't come back, that money's not worth anything anyway.
Yeah. It's
Good
true.
point.
Yeah. Let's read some of these super chats for everybody. But serious shout out to Mr. Bala, man. I'm so happy to see that he's got a good amount of cash
I know. I'm
Mhm.
excited.
to help him. All right, let's see. We had a bunch of super chats come in. Where are we at here? It is not so easy. Wow.
That's
Whoa.
it right there.
Where? Which one?
That
Dempsey?
yeah, the emote.
Oh, there's a weird pear
Ooh, avocado.
destroying a city.
Yeah, it's like a Godzilla pear.
Oh.
It's pretty great.
All right, let's see.
Rampage.
Jeremiah says, notice how most of these protesters are not practicing social distancing and half aren't wearing masks. Exactly. It's over, isn't it? Thomas Kishman says, Freemasons play both sides. The Red Lodge and the Blue Lodge, a.k.a. Red Pill, Blue Pill, they divide and conquer. They get their order from chaos, peace, and Christ bless. Uncle Sniffy says, it's hilarious. Skipped my super chat. Why? Sorry if we did. we just have it with so many people super chatting, it really is physically impossible to read it because more super chats come in than we can actually read. So I apologize if we missed you. Connor O'Brien says Nick Cage as Superman. Superman lives. Have you seen that, right?
No.
Nicolas Cage did a test, and he's like, this video of he's in a costume and he wanted to be Superman.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, he wanted to be Superman.
Yeah, he wanted to for the role, and he didn't get it. He didn't get it. He did not get it, I guess.
Kind of glad he didn't.
Yep.
Although
Me too.
I like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure.
Shane, thanks for joining. Jay says it's about joblessness and not racism.
I'm
Jack
inclined
Lee
to
says,
agree.
congrats on catching up on Super Chat. Small goals for the win. Appreciate it. Knights of Steel says, hey, I'm a Doug. Don't make fun of me. No, I'm sorry. He said, I'm a Doug. Don't make me get my spade. That's what it was. Arios says, Rogan in the morning, Pool in the evening, Crowder at supper time. With so many YouTube options, my phone could die at any time. It's great, isn't it?
Nice. Good.
Aaron and Christina, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Isaiah says, all those people want is money. All the media wants is money. The community is hurting itself for nothing. It's just disgusting. I agree. Jay says, we are broke, so we're going to go broke stuff. Unfortunately, that's the... Technolong says, Target on Merle Hay Road in Des Moines boarded up now. Riding downtown as of 8:30 p.m. Central Time.
Des Moines?
Yeah, Des Moines.
Iowa.
Scott Lovenberg says, software guy here. Anyone else in the Twin Cities want to start a Discord or something to keep track of what's going on? Where in the metro and burbs? What's a good platform for this? All admin at me, and it's at GazOnyx. So GAZZONYX. If you guys are looking to communicate, stay safe. That's a really smart thing to do.
Nice.
T. Lepla says, did you see what Lil Wayne said? I did not.
I haven't seen it.
He's pretty
You can pull it
based. I'll look it up.
Holden Aces says, coming from New York, it's a power grab. Wearing a mask should be personal choice. Gathering should be a personal choice. First Amendment. Jason Martin, thanks for the super chat, says, you are amazing and there's a dancing pair.
Thank you.
Andrew Starr says, remember when they said white supremacy was the biggest domestic threat we face? Yeah, that was CNN, right? CrossFit Nerd says, Tim, I'm a combat vet with 6 combat tours and one non-combat tour under my belt. I was never trained to place a knee on the head neck of a captured detainee. It was always place the knee on the back. Ben Kai says, have you seen First Purge? Political party sends mercs disguised as citizens to incite violence and pass the Purge Act, agent provocateurs, as AJ says. Bob Walker says, thank you all for defending free speech and peaceful protests. I love this show and what you all do. I don't agree with all your stances. I love hearing your points of view and it helps me develop mine. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
That's the goal, right?
That's how it should
Totally
be.
the point.
Jay says, would be perhaps beneficial to torch own failing bar business for insurance money and set up a GoFundMe. Yeah, but it wasn't a failing business. It wasn't even open. He never opened it. The grand opening was supposed to happen. Wolfalt De Leon says, all assets deployed. Current landscape, deliberate. Events impact election. War. Future republic at stake. Shadowheart says, for what it's worth, the Aussie media is painting the right situation as a damned war zone, yet parroting MSNBC and CNN. Trump wants people to die, etc., etc. Sad face. Oh, I just can't take it anymore. Joshua Bartlett says, the intellectual elites whipped up a mob into a frenzy to influence the Roman authorities to crucify a dissenter whose speech, I'll repeat that, his speech contradicted popular opinion.
Indeed.
Where are we at? We just got a big super chat jump. I love when that happens. So much fun.
Well, thanks for everyone for joining us. I'm going to take this moment to say, smash that like button.
Oh, yeah. Just bash it.
Smash it
Boom.
down. Smash that like button.
Oh, yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter at Timcast and Instagram, as well as Adam. And
Boom. There I am, right
and
there.
at Sour Patch Lids. Lyds. She posts spicy memes.
The spiciest.
You can send Adam story ideas and
spiciest.
generally connect. So, these story ideas usually make it to the show.
Yep.
And then I'm just complaining about stuff on Twitter. So
It's great.
if you like it.
It's a
You
trifecta.
see the raw Tim.
That's right.
Oh, I
On
swear
Twitter.
all the
There's
time.
swearing.
I'm sassy. Instagram is more like skateboarding fun and stuff. And we got some plans for skate videos coming soon.
Yeah.
We had a cool session today. It wasn't as long as I wanted to, but I got a really great frontside disaster. It was huge.
Someone just said,
Stoked on it.
spin it. So I'm going to spin it. This is
There
for
we
that
go.
random chat
There you go.
message
Spin it.
that told me to spin the UFO. So this is for
Little
you.
voices told Adam.
Ryan says, not free, but Dave Rubin's Communities does something like the Fediverse via Twitter, I think. Maybe worth checking out. I have seen Locals. If you guys haven't checked it out, check out locals.com. It's a great domain name, by the way, and it's Dave Rubin's. It's like your own social network. So check it out. That's
Cool.
the best way I can put it. I don't know exactly how it works if it's like the Fediverse, but the Fediverse, I think, is like, it's a protocol. It's like the future of what we could do with social media. Scott Steiner says, you're hypocritical. You condone reasonable limits on the Second Amendment, e.g. gun registry and licenses. You don't apply that rationale equally to the rest. Actually, I'm not. As I stated, it was 2 years ago I said that, and then someone immediately responded, then how about I put limits on your speech? And I said, whoa, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I can't ask for a restriction on your right. It's both of our rights, but I can't ask for those restrictions because then they'll get restrictions on me. All right, well, I prefer my speech over you not having a gun, so. But also, I'll tell you what, man, over the past several years, too, I've also become more closer to Pro 2A just for a lot of reasons, notably learning the history of the Black Panthers, the history of gun control, how stop and frisk is a racist gun control measure. And that's what's made me really back off. Like, one of New York's biggest problems was the racist practice they had. Like, Bloomberg literally said it was.
I know.
And it was gun control. It was trying to stop people from having weapons. And I'm like, wow. I don't know if it's good if everyone would have weapons, but I know that, like, this is the part of the policy that everyone hates.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. Sir Boromir says, isn't that just RSS? Right, it could be. Aaron says, knowing a few people who have been around the protests in Ohio, the people out are mostly Antifa and drug addicts. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them are. Major, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Head Honcho says, I think once there is a Democrat comes around, this isn't totally mental, Tim will go back to being a Democrat. I mean, right?
I like
I'm
moderation.
not a conservative.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd love to find a good moderate Democrat who's like sane and reasonable. And then we can disagree on simple things like
a real Democrat.
Imagine if we were talking about tax policy right now. Can you believe those Republicans want to lower taxes by 2%? Well, we got these programs we got to fund. We got to make sure it's. No, we're like everyone's burning everything down and cheering for it.
Everyone's hair is on fire.
Yeah. 1991 says Shadowheart. Larry Elder has a good perspective and links to Larry Elder's Twitter, but I can't click the link.
He is good.
Sparky says Jack Dorsey's in the Paris Hilton School of Thought. Tell them what they want to hear, then do what you want. I wouldn't be surprised. True Habit says Joe Jorgensen for president, the real alternative to this two-party BS. She sounds pretty good. I saw a meme about her. It was funny.
That's all I've ever seen of her.
Memes?
A meme?
Yeah,
I've never heard
They're
her
funny.
name before.
Yeah,
funny
same.
memes.
Need a little more than memes.
Not Heisenbear says, LOL, ban the Karens. Can't wait for the music. Thanks. Oh, we're close. Old Baby says, I effing love Motorhead. Grant says, the entire Minneapolis and St. Paul metro area is on an 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew all weekend. Frank Taylor says, you're a good man, Tim Pool. I appreciate it.
I could second that.
Aaron says, he needs to rebuild it somewhere else. And yeah, he does.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Brad, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Kyron X says, never mind insurance that never pays. Go fundraisers. Angie Hammy says, hi, Tim. My husband watches you every single day. Loves seeing your content. It's very hard to resist expressing my not very popular conservative opinion in CA. Haha.
Oh, gosh.
Thanks for watching. Surge, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Damien says, so much destruction. Where are we at?
Gotta jump.
Wow, they're coming in too
Jump
fast for
for
me.
joy.
Wow, really? Is that big? Whoa. V City says, I live in Tallahassee. Police shot a black trans man on Wednesday. At 8:30, another black trans man was shot. People are starting to come in from GA and the rest of FL. Another one is set for tomorrow. Wow. RG Merkel says, St. Louis protest underway. Peaceful thus far. Surge says, I've been seeing a lot of people I know posting anti-white rhetoric on social media. And when I tell them that this isn't helping, they say I'm not brown. That's what they do.
Yep.
Wolfsbane says, I have a friend who is a firefighter. He tried to resuscitate an infant but didn't make it and had to shake the pain off him. He's one of the strongest men I know. Glad to know he's getting support. Wow.
Right on.
VT Num says the police should invest in some bees. Toss some bees in the crowd. Green, non-lethal force. Everyone acts big and tough until some bees get up in there. No, bees are lethal. They're absolutely lethal. Henry, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Rodol says the sports bar GoFundMe has raised $405,682.
Through the
Killing
roof.
it.
Wow.
Yes.
Major Woody says, Tim, you really need to sit down with Styx and let him explain to you what a moral panic is. Perhaps then you will understand all the craziness that is going on today. Word. Styx is awesome. Rolling Thunder in a downpour says, I hope the calmer heads will prevail, but I fear the boogaloo is inevitable. Keep up your great work, Tim. Adam and Lydia, you're a light in the darkness. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
AB7 Film says, have you thought about going on Bill Maher? Talk about the integrity of journalism, perhaps. If Bill Maher calls, I will consider it. Henry says, hey, Tim, have you ever been to NH? If so, what do you think of our humble people? I don't know if I have, actually. I don't think so.
I've never been up there either.
Seems cool.
Chris says, love you all. Protests happening here in Buffalo, New York tomorrow. My guitar is tuned lower and turned up louder than ever. Iced, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
Time says, Lower New York State has no citizen militia. Are there any avenues that responsible pro-Constitution citizens can do to unify and protect ourselves? I honestly don't know. I have no idea. B. Moral says, what if other countries are taking advantage of the situation? What if the guy who broke AutoZone windows, Russian agent? Makes more sense than a cop. Yeah, the cop thing is just weird. They want it to be, you know?
Yeah, they want to believe it.
Let's see. Engineer. Timcast IRL should have everyday Americans on the show as guests. Wouldn't it be fun to have additional people with varying backgrounds and opinions to interview on different topics?
I actually love this idea.
That was the original idea.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about doing that on my channel. Something similar to that, you know.
The original idea for Timcast IRL was to bring the van to small towns and interview regular people.
I love that.
The problem was finding a crew that could do it, and then the lockdown, and then it just, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kaj says, these people are ensuring Trump gets another 4 more years by riding like this. CNN getting raided is pretty funny, and Big Tech getting the shaft is even funnier. Ben says, keep up the great work. Appreciate it. Greg. Whoa, man. These are two coming in too fast.
Thanks,
Where
everybody.
are we at? Greg Rassel says, overall, are we going uphill or downhill as a total? I don't know, man. I think we're going downhill. Like, that's the bad one, right?
I think so.
Well, I think we're going uphill towards the apex, the climax, when everything goes off like a nuclear bomb. Fernando says, would you ever do an interview with Chris Chappell or China Uncensored? For sure. Aaron says, Trump Jr. just retweeted your video about the bar. Cool. Glad to see it.
Whoa. Cool.
Paradox Gaming says, some people just want to watch the world burn. TXMJ says, hey, Tim, do you think the riot in Minneapolis is like Ferguson, where there were people from out of town rioting, and this isn't the best example of two-way? Absolutely from out of town. Sam says, a friend of mine who is a security contractor has just been called into Minneapolis. Someone also tipped me off to the Treasury building in D.C. getting broken into. Whoa, what?
I have to look into that.
I mean, that's boogaloo territory, man.
Cheers, everyone.
What do you got there, buddy?
Just taking a drink.
I'm prepping for the music.
He's
Right
a
on.
preppin'. I
It's
love
Friday.
it.
It's Friday night.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
Bass, thanks for becoming a member. Blinky Bill says, look into what type of people are Antifa. Get names from arrest records and look up their social media. You will see a pattern. Angie, thanks for joining. Iced Coffee says, Adam, check your Instagram. I sent you an idea for a segment. North Fox Island, a.k.a. the original Epstein Island.
I really got to apologize. I don't check my Instagram that much. I usually just get on my Instagram to post a picture, and
Bop out.
that's kind of it. I'm way more active on Twitter. It's a lot easier to interact with people, so I'll get on my Instagram and check out the messages.
Word. Ethan, thanks for joining. Rob says, Tim, check out Collider being part of the outrage mob saying that Snyder Cut sets a dangerous precedent. One Twisty Boy says, would you consider going on Logan Paul's podcast? In my opinion, your viewpoints resonate with their demo, and you're a voice for people like me who can't voice their frustration as coherently as you do. It'd be great to go on Logan Paul's podcast, for sure. Thomas says, I'm an American in Iloilo, Philippines. I love your content. It's good hearing fair and balanced content. Liquor ban here for 2 months.
No.
Appreciate your freedom and buy one on me. Well, I don't drink, but Adam will.
Speaking of which,
He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
your back.
cheers, everybody.
Clive-
I see a lot of people cheersing me.
Oh, look at
So
that.
Clive
this
Nebula.
is for all those people. Go ahead.
Clive Nebula says, Des Moines is the Shire. Looks like Sauron has arrived. Cloud G says, I want your beanie. We will soon have them. Zach says, on a side note, Doritos is making a chip infused with THC. Thoughts? Hey, man. It's America.
Tackle
All right,
those
freedom.
munchies.
Freedom.
Interesting.
Henry says, look up the stats. NH is low-key the best state. I've heard this. STU says, hey, Tim, can you give me a TLDR of Antifa? Probably not. It's a loose coalition of far leftists, from communists, from anarchists, anarcho-communists, syndicalists. How about this? It's far leftists of varying degrees of authoritarian. They all are on the authoritarian scale. They'll lie to you and say they're not authoritarians. And I really get annoyed at the political compass memes that keep putting Antifa on the left libertarian spectrum because libertarians don't believe in forcing people to do things with violence, be it a left libertarian or right. But they always do this in the political compass. They put left libertarian Antifa. Stop. They're authoritarians. That's why they beat people and burn things, to force you to do what they want. That's how authoritarians enforce things. They go to you and they say, I will burn your house down unless you do what I say. That's what Antifa's doing. The libertarian left are the hippies living on a farm sharing a watermelon together.
Yeah.
Ethan Hughes says, hoping this ends soon. Staying safe up here in Montana, but I'm armed if I need to defend myself and my family. Stay safe, everyone. And Thomas, thanks for joining. And Jack says, cheers, Adam.
Cheers.
With that being said, the first thing you got to do is smash the like button.
Yes.
Smash that like button.
The second thing
There
you
you
got to do is follow at Adam Krigler, follow at Timcast, and follow
There, I'm
at
down there.
Sour Patch Lids,
Hey, I got the camera angle. There we go.
LYDS.
I got this.
Subscribe to the show and hit the notification bell. Adam's gonna play some music. I think I can, but man, I don't know if I can play music. We'll see what happens. Dude, I've been talking for like 5 hours, 6 hours straight today. You can hear it. You can hear my throat's going.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
So maybe Adam will play 2 songs. Maybe I'll play a song. Maybe I'll play an easy one. But let's do this. Let's throw it to. So actually, before we go to this, I'll just say that's the main portion of the show. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Now we're gonna be chilling and hanging out. You're welcome to stay. Adam's going to be playing some music. He's really good at it. I might not be able to do a song today. I'll try. Maybe I'll do a simple one. But here we go.
I gotta play a song.
I think I can.
Y'all hooked up?
Let me just make sure it's in tune. Nothing worse than being out of tune. What's up, everybody? How you doing? I like having a swig of whiskey before I sing. It helps with the pipes, you know. So this is a song I wrote for some female friends of mine in high school. They were always getting their heart broken, and it always annoyed me. And yeah, it's called "When Will She Learn." Oh yeah, yeah. What does the moon mean to you? Some questions aren't meant for you. What do you see when you dream? Are you stuck dreaming of him? Which door would you open if you were allowed to? Will he ever be satisfied without you? Well, she's lost before, and she'll never let her heart break anymore. Well, shields up defensive positions. Call her what you will, I'ma call her a mission. Well, good luck to the next guy who's gonna break down her walls, 'cause I know she would rather die than have her heart broken once and for all. Well, she won't budge, whoa, why? She's got a grudge, 'cause she has played all the games, oh, so now she walks away. She walks away. Is this too soon for you? Well, maybe he feels the same way as you. Oh, but what if the connection is mutual? Oh, well, that's hard to believe, 'cause it's so unusual. Yeah, well, you gave it to him even though your friends told you not to. And the game begins again, and now he's got you. Well, she's lost the war. Now she'll never let her heart break anymore. Well, shields up defensive positions. Oh, maybe this time she's learned her lesson. Well, good luck to the next guy who's gonna break down her walls, 'cause I know she would rather die than have her heart broken once and for all. Well, she won't budge, oh, why? She's got a grudge, 'cause she has played all the games, and now she walks away. She walks away, yeah. What does that moon mean to you? Yeah, when he smiles, is he smiling for you? Will she learn? When is this girl gonna learn? Come on, girl, we gonna learn. This girl ain't never gonna learn. She's never gonna learn. When will she learn that tables can't quickly turn? Always falling in too quick and always end up getting burned. Always keep your shields in position.
Oh, come on, girl, know him before you make that kind of decision. Well, good luck to the next guy who's gonna break down her walls, 'cause I know she would rather die than ever heartbroken once and for all. Thank you very much. Tim, you want to come play a song?
Yeah, I'll play one.
He's coming to play a song.
Then we gotta wrap it up, so we're not gonna stick around.
All right, that's fine.
Where's my pick at though?
I got one.
Yeah,
Did I steal your pick? This might be yours. I don't know.
I don't got a throat for this right now.
Are you playing the 12 string?
I'm gonna play the 12 string.
All right, let me get out of your way. Enjoy.
I'm probably gonna play. I think I played the song already.
That's all right.
Let me. Yeah, whatever. Tell me I'm singing in the right place. How's it going, everybody? Guess what? You probably know who I am because you watch the show.
Yeah, looks good.
Look, I understand that when we wrap up on Friday nights, we just want to have a good hangout. You guys can stick around. A lot of people take off because we're not talking much anymore, but we're hanging out. We're making it a Friday night jam. That's what we're doing. Looks all good?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and play this song. So I talk all day, every day. And it's difficult to actually add singing to the mix, to be honest.
You can have a little sip of whiskey.
What song should I play? You know what I'm going to play? Should I play the one, I don't know. I'm gonna play this one because it's the easiest one for me to play.
There it is.
Maybe I shouldn't play this on this guitar. Oh, that is awful. All right, we're not gonna play the 12 string.
Yeah, that sounded out of tune.
Very out of tune.
Takes a while to tune a 12 string, so.
This one needs to be restringed.
What do you guys want to hear? What do you want to hear? I saw it with little people. Oh, this is a good song.
I already messed it up.
Just go for it.
Remember when we used to fight for peace, but heroes were only on TV screens. My heart is made up of broken hopes and dreams. Take my place in mediocrity. Taking more, taking spite of this. Focus on the ways. I guess you never changed that day. It's hard to believe that you mean nothing to me, 'cause you used to be everything. Remember when we used to hope for peace, but villains weren't only on TV screens. The market's made up of broken hopes and dreams, so take your place in this story. Taking more, taking spite of this. Focus on the ways. I really wished you'd change that day. It's hard to believe that you mean nothing to me, 'cause you used to be everything. There were words in a book about what we've been through, and there are lines in a script written for me and you. Take it all inside and pay it words. Another aching in your heart starts to burn. Taking more, taking spite of this, and focus on the ways. I guess you know
changed that day. It's hard to believe, but I'm moving on with my dreams. 'Cause you were never there for me. There were words in a book about what we've been through, and there are words in a script written for me and you to take it all in stride and pray it works. Another aching in your heart starts to burn.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
I was singing along a little bit.
Yeah. We gotta go to. I gotta go to bed. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed. Man, my throat is melted.
Yeah, nice, dude. Nice.
Well, I think we should
I was just like, wind it up now. Say goodbye to him.
wind it up. What's this? Boom. What's going on? Oh, we
Yeah.
gotta do this.
We got to turn the mics back. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and staying and listening to us jam out. I know it's
we go.
becoming the norm on a Friday. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we want to do something fun because we were also planning on doing outside nighttime streams. Oh, I got to do this. Definitely turn that off.
Oh yeah.
The ambient. We have the instrument mic. So we want to do. We were gonna do like outside night skate sessions. We're trying to get this building, man, because it's gonna be crazy. We're gonna do the show Friday night. There's gonna be skateboarding and music, and we're gonna do shows, and we're gonna have physical shows with people coming out and all that good stuff.
Yep.
So that just means we gotta keep working, and the lockdown's making things crazy, and hopefully the world doesn't burn up. So that being said, hit the like button if you haven't already done it. You can follow at Adam Krigler, at Timcast, and at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS. We will be back Monday. I, of course, will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastNews, but we do the show Monday through Friday live here. So if you enjoy it, then come back Monday, and we will see you all then. Thanks for hanging out.
Have a great
Hey,
weekend.
guys.